And we are live again on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but the most fun is sitting down with those designers and playing their games. Today we're playing an adventure from the Phylactery series. It's part of Phylactery 4 or the Phylactery Omnibus, which is live right now over on Kickstarter, and we're playing it with the creator and one of my just hands down absolute favorite people, but also OSR designers. That's Levi Combs. Levi, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, but tell us a little bit about Phylactery in general, because you've got the Omnibus happening right now, and we need to know about it.
Hi, I'm Levi Combs. I am the publisher and creative head over at Planet X Games. The Phylactery series is one of our products. Started out as just these little 48-page zines that were kind of a directly from the page to the table resource that you could use. You know, you could it was just full of different locations and NPCs and magic items and plot hooks and all this all kinds of stuff that you could ease into your game. You could take a little bit of this and just ditch the rest, or you could use the whole thing. But they were just jam packed with a lot of resources. So we made a few of those, and now we're on our fourth one, and we decided to put together an omnibus, which is basically like the whole ball of wax. You get all 4 issues plus an additional at least 50 pages of content. So it's like having a whole nother issue plus. And we're throwing in interviews, cover galleries, a sketchbook. If you've ever picked up any of those like old complete omnibus editions from like Dark Horse Comics that have all the extras in the back, very much along those sensibilities.
Awesome. I am super excited. I'm a huge fan of the series, but I've never gotten a print copy of Phylactery #1, even though I've had the chance on pretty much every other Kickstarter you've done. Now I don't need to. I'm just going to get the omnibus. It's going to be great. But I love them because you can drop them into any sandbox setting that you're using. You can plan them into your other adventures. Anything from OSE to Down We Go, which is our house OSR system we're using today, to even 5th edition. It'll play in really well. So if you're looking for stuff that just drips flavor, go check it out. I'd absolutely encourage you. Phenomenal products and great little pieces to sprinkle into your game and horrify and delight your players with at the same time. And so with that said, let's meet some of the other folks that we are playing with tonight. We got a lot of people who are joining us on stream, not for the first time, some of them first time, but some of them for the first time as players. Let's start with Shane, though. Shane, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
Hello, I am Shane. I am from the Great White North, literally. I've been a gamer for 30 some odd years now. Started way back when with AD&D 2nd edition, and have pretty much played everything and anything I can get my hands on. Mostly I've wormed my way into becoming friends with both John and Levi, so latched on that moray eel on the shark. That's me. And I'm on Twitter at Shane Loves Games, and basically I just try and post every day something positive about the gaming community and have positive interactions with people, because that bird app isn't always positive. So I try and make a positive place where people can come and talk about something they like or agree with me about my personal preferences.
Awesome. I'm super glad to have you with us for the first time. I know we've been mutuals on Twitter for a long time, and I will say it is always a delight to see you on there, because I'm a big fan of positivity in the scene, and you always bring it. So super glad we could have you online. Even when Levi was like, Shane's going to join us, I was like, Shane who loves games, Shane's going to be here with us. I was very excited. And
he really does love games.
It's true.
I do.
It's true.
Legit.
Next over joining us for the first time, we've got Javier. Javier, we met through the Together We Jam, which is live right now. So if you like the vibes of the system we're playing with, go check out the Together We Jam. Javier's actually working on a skirmish game based on the Down We Go system, and I'm super excited to see what comes out of that, because I love when people push things to the limits, and can't wait to see what Javier brings. Javier, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where folks can find you online.
Well, thank you for having me here, first thing, because it's really exciting to meet people who have been doing this a long time. For me, I guess I'm like jack of all trades. I showed off a sculpt a bit earlier, and I sculpt miniatures and I design miniature games through my still really like young company, Far World Games, which you can find on Instagram. And the thing is, to talk about like the current project I'm doing for the Game Jam really quickly, it's called Insomniacs, which is a really gritty superhero skirmish war game where a player takes control of just one character that they create, and you can either, your character is called an insomniac because they never rest. They keep fighting over and over. Like it's kind of like a Batman 24/7. There's no Bruce Wayne for this type of character. And the idea was that what I liked about the OSR approach and the Together We Go core set of development kit was that it's deadly. Like you can obviously increase the health points of somebody so that way they don't die that fast, but it's still like meant to be a kind of deadly endeavor, especially with the OSR approach, which has influenced me a lot to finally take my designs further in a certain direction, which is just simpler, faster to resolve games. And that doesn't mean less complex. It just means my ideas, like I finally got rid of all of that fluff, that, the traditional games usually had. And I think that's, a really great, thing for skirmish war games to do, which a lot of games have done recently, like Forbidden Psalm, Reign in Hell, and like a bunch of other indie titles that are just quicker to resolve. And I think that's a really good direction to take. If RPGs are doing it, I think that war games can do it as well.
I love it. I'm super excited to see what comes out of it, and love a lot of the things that you're looking at as your influences. And not first time on stream, but I think first time as a player on stream. We've got John Hambo McGuire. John, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online?
Hey, Tony, I'm so glad to be here again. This is my first time actually playing on stream and not running something. I'm John Hambone McGuire. I am the co-host and the producer of the Vintage RPG podcast. I'm the co-creator and co-writer of 321 Action and all our wonderful adventures. You can find me across social media at John McGuire RPG, even on the TikTok, but I won't dance for you.
The voice of a golden god.
There you go.
And I'm losing it today too, so
I'm super excited about this crew. Again, we are going to be using Down We Go, which is our house OSR system. If you like it, you can go check it out or check out the Jam. There's a lot of cool things that it's featuring. But what I really want people to pay attention to as we're playing is just the beauty of the adventure we're going on. We use a couple different tools here on the channel just to keep us all on track, make sure everybody feels comfortable. So it's lines, veils, and the X card. The lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, don't happen in the course of our play of it. Veils are things that we kind of say, hey, they may happen, but we're not going to go deep into them. We're going to handle them in a certain way as they come up. X cards, the ability for anybody at any time to pause the game and say, hey, I have an issue with this. It could just be confusing. It could be subject matter. You don't actually have to explain it. You say, I have an issue with this, and we'll move that out and we'll move forward in a different direction. With that said, we have a strong line against sexual violence here on the channel. Does anybody else have any lines or veils that they want to add? I know we have one against harm to digits. It has a line over it. Like we can get a foot lopped off, but not toes or no feet either.
take it at the wrist or take it at the ankle.
Take it at the wrist or take it at the ankle. Nothing beyond that. We obviously have lines against a lot of the phobias and isms that might pop up in some games. But any other ones that we want to add in?
I mean, I think personally, so long as innocent pets are not, hurt in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's not a huge thing for me, but I think I've seen enough movies already where pets are harmed.
Your character will go John Wick.
There won't be any problem with any of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. No
that
worries.
would be it. Yeah. I trust Levi, honestly. Yeah. You look like a really, reliable. Yeah.
Old, gray.
Like you don't see it a lot here, but I also got the white beard on, so I hope to reach your level someday.
With that said, we also have an open door policy. So if we need to pause real quick, if somebody needs to get up, walk away, if you see me eating my dinner because I hadn't yet, that's all. Those are all normal things that people do in their lives, and we're normal people, even though we're on the screen in front of you. If you need to take care of yourself during the stream, please do. With that said, Levi, I'm going to hand things over to you. Tell us how you want to do character introductions, how you want to get us started, or just take us into the action.
Yeah, sure. So I would just, if you don't mind, just go around and introduce yourselves to each other. The quicker, the better. And just go for it. I don't think there's any need to go into a deep dive. Yeah. So who are you, Horace Fallen Oak?
Horace Fallen Oak is a follower of the distraction. It is a new religion which has come out in that life is the distraction that keeps us from dying. And as long as we are distracted, death cannot get us. So there is a bit of a pamphlet that he will more than happy share with you, for a few coins. I've been playing Star Wars too much. And for a few copper, he's got to kick some copper up to his higher up, who then kicks the copper higher up as well. And he is more than happy to talk about the world of the distraction. He's very bubbly, outgoing, very friendly. Definitely somebody you want as the face of your new religion.
Beautiful. Love it. Torment.
So, as Torment, I am a... okay, so I'm going to go by the rumors of the adventurers. Most people speculate that I am an ex-assassin, turned adventurer. Nobody really knows my face because I use an ornate mask that I never take off. Think Mandalorian style. The only way he can eat or drink is that he has like a slit, right here. I have a slit on the, on the mask. And the voice sounds human, so nobody can really attest to, what I am, but some speculate half demon because I have certain tendencies. That's how I earned the nickname Torment, because I like to torment, my prey when I go out adventuring. Either through paranoia or just like it's almost like pranking, but really mean, but so long as they're monsters and bad people, I don't really care. And I'm just like a magic assassin, pretty much. That's what I have going for me.
All right. Lady Zara Bloodspiller.
So I'm playing a set of non OG Down We Go classes. I'm playing with 2 levels in Amazon and 2 levels in Princess, which is by D, who created this as part of the Down We Go Jam. So imagine somewhere between Xena and Wonder Woman is kind of the presentation that we see for Lady Zara Bloodspiller. Carries a large scepter that has a skull at the end of it, and that skull makes contact with other skulls a lot. Has a lasso at her side, and I wrote as a crown of knives, which I envision are a bunch of throwing knives in a crown also too, and is constantly flanked by 2 retainers at this point in time who are goons who are always with me. I rolled randomly for those, and I have Helene the Tall, who is a large, imposing woman, and Sir Darius, who is in large, elaborate, clanking armor, who are constantly with me, attending to my needs.
Fair enough. All right. Robel.
Yeah, my name is Robel Robel. I am a thief. It's a good thing that I am very sneaky because I'm mostly knives. Like, if you think about the old-timey Times Square guys, like, you want to buy a watch? It's just all knives. I have no need for money or food because I'm just going to take yours anyway. I only have one friend in the world. His name is Barry. Barry Sneaky. He's also a thief. I learned everything I know from him. And, I'm interested in finding out who Zara's knife guy is, because that's a fine-looking crown.
Yeah. I can work it out with you. I'll give you their card.
Fair enough. Listen, as the adventure picks up, you guys, some of you know each other. Some of you are meeting for the first time. And so we'll just get into it. The adventure is called Merv the Mountaincracker. This is written by a good friend of mine, Ian McGarty. He and I kind of jammed on it, but the majority of it is his. It's going to be in Phylactery 4. It's in the Phylactery Omnibus as well, because that contains Phylactery 4. So yeah, cheers to Ian for putting this in. All right. The spring thaw has come, and the high passes in the mountains are beginning to melt. Early scouts for the local lord, Umbert Harl, have discovered that an avalanche has blocked the eastern pass and rendered it completely impassable. Lord Umbert is now looking for a group of fools, well, adventurers, to brave the mountain wilds and find his best engineer, a local hero known as Merv the Mountaincracker, to resolve the issue. Lord Umbert bestowed a large tract of wilderness in his kingdom to Merv in exchange for the safety and assistance that the hero and his well-known magical hammer, Krazen the Mountain Splitter, bring. So, Lord Umbert has gathered you here. You have, like I said, some of you know each other. Some of you here are because you're in debt of coin to the local lord. Maybe your taxes were overdue, or maybe you brought back some treasure and didn't pay the taxes, or maybe you just got drunk and landed yourselves in jail, and this is the way out. Maybe you've run afoul of the law. Maybe you need to get out of those high mountain passes yourselves. It's completely in the context of the adventure, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is the six of you have all gathered. You're all here, and Lord Umbert, wants you to go find his best engineer. Now the surrounding area, the area of the kingdom that you're in, it's on the edges of like a wild hinterland. Okay, so you're kind of at like a frontier town sort of area, and then everything past the frontier is going to be pretty wild. Think like I don't know, Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, and in December, that sort of thing. It's a tough, rangy, rocky, wooded, area full of gullies and old riverbeds, and it's more of a place where you'd find mountain goats than you would find adventurers tramping around in armor in the woods. So Lord Umbert says, hey, listen, here's some gold, or you owe me. Go and find Merv. He's up, it's this way. He gives you a rough set of directions, and you can go find him and tell him that he's got to clear these mountain passes. There's an avalanche that's blocking the eastern pass, and if we don't clear that out, then we're not going to get our supplies in time. So that's where we begin.
Awesome.
Great.
Look, my family's parcel of land, the Bloodspiller parcel of land, is on the other side of the mountains. We've got to get this cleared so I can get back home. I've been stuck over in Lord Umbert's area for far too long, and I think he's going to try to marry me to his awkward nephew. I got to get out of here.
His nephew Carl is not cool at all.
He's a weirdo.
Not cool at all.
So I'm not into this.
You're not even sure he's past puberty yet.
I don't think he is. And so he does smell bad.
Kids,
but
one of those kids that really likes the smell of milk.
Yeah, and not fresh milk either. And
always wearing a bathrobe.
Yeah, and so
I mean, at least it's an ornate bathrobe because he is royalty after all.
But he's never taken a bath. That's the weirdest part. And so, so I'm on my horse that's named Jet and seems largely invisible, just ready to head off up the mountain pass.
Sure. There is a local mountain man who, before you guys all head off or whatever you decided, before you leave the fort, he does say, listen, that's going to be mighty inhospitable territory up there. Your horse can get a certain, it can get a certain way up the mountain, but it's going to be hard going for your mount should you take it all the way up there. Just letting you know.
I believe in Jet.
One question, Lord. Are we expecting anybody else to be looking for Merv?
No, listen, Merv likes his his cabin up in the woods. He likes, his local status as a hero. He's not particularly fond of trespassers, but he's not going to take crazing and split you upside the head with it or anything. He's a surly bit of a dude. Any of you have any sort of skill or anything like, anything about like you would know local legends or anything of that nature?
Speaking out of character, right?
No, I think this. Yeah, just about your.
Yeah. I mean, since I'm an ex-assassin, I would have at least scouted out for some info.
Yeah. So you've heard of this guy Merv, and his nickname, the Mountaincracker. He's an engineer of some sort, but he was before he was the Lord's engineer. He was a local hero. He had gone on many forays into the hinterlands, and he'd had a pretty fair degree of success. He ran off bandits, and he's a hero, saved folk. He gained that local status as somebody to be respected, feared, and to be on the civilized side of things.
All right. Well, in character, I imagine that thanks to the avalanche, we should still be cautious of any kind of unwanted guests trying to make their way to Merv.
Yeah, and the hinterlands being what they are, I mean, it's a complete wilderness. It's you're once you get past a certain point, you're deep in it. You're out in the
anything could happen.
It could be very, very wild. Civilization, literally where you're on this frontier town, it stops here. Then everything past it is pretty untamed.
All right. I'm totally ready for this, though. That's for sure.
Okay.
I think I've worn out my welcome in this town and been stuck here for long enough that people are overly sick of hearing about the distraction, and I need to get out of town before I face the end of being distracted.
Fair enough. Does anybody have any questions before you head out? Excuse me, before you head out?
Anybody want to buy a pamphlet? It's more like a donation to the church, really. I don't see any of this. Okay, let me just tell you that. I take what I need for my meal and board, and the rest goes to the church.
I think making sure we have a warm place to sleep and an easy means to start a fire. We'll buy some dry wood in a tent and all that stuff, and then hand it to Helene to carry.
All right. Yeah, she seems to have little problem carrying a full, bundle of wood and a tent and all sorts of attendant equipment on her back. It's like nothing. Yeah, she rucks it, no problem.
Right. Well, Lord, I definitely will get to Merv, but I expect a hefty reward for this. I will do, believe me, I will do the best of my job, and you know me.
Yeah, no, he's very pleased. Listen, when you come back, you'll come back as heroes. This, you're literally saving the town. This is the sort of thing that the entire town's live. It's not even a town. It's more, like I said, more of a fort. It's a frontier settlement, and if they don't get their supplies, it's the game on. It's a problem. You can hunt for wild game, but that doesn't feed 40 families. That one deer goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, as you guys set off, what's your marching order actually? Who's in the front? Who's in the back?
Lady Zara's just ready to go. So on the horse in the front.
Can I?
You are taking your horse.
I am taking my horse. Yeah. Well, I have full faith in Jet.
Sure.
Zero concerns.
Can I also ride on Lady Zara's horse, but on the back, facing backwards?
You want to sit on the pack, facing the opposite direction?
I would like to, because I don't want to be arms around you riding on the horse. I want to be back to back with you, sitting on the awkward part of the horse, keeping my eyes on our 6.
I mean, if you don't mind, I'm like 5'5", 5'6", so I could, move forward ahead, always keep an eye out. Not too far, but just, let's just say I'm farsighted, So I could,
Whatever you guys want to do.
I can march forward.
Where's the cleric at, Shane?
Somewhere where he won't get hit first. So probably like I'll be dodging horse crap, but I'll probably try and stay behind the horse.
That's your distraction.
Yeah.
And then we'll have Helene and Darius bring up the rear.
Sure, sounds good.
Maybe I'll spend my time trying to talk those two into converting.
By the way, can I just
Helene seems stoically uninterested. Darius seems way more interested than he should be.
Got him.
Can I just ask for a really quick favor? I forgot to ask this initially. I have light as one of my spells, but given my ex-assassin nature, can I make it like can I make it so that it's only light that only I can see, kind of like dark vision?
So you want a darkness spell, right?
It's a dark, like only I can see that light. Only I can see what it's illuminated.
You want a light that's invisible to everybody else.
Yeah, like only I could see it. Is that okay?
Oh, I don't see a problem with that at all. No.
All right, yeah, because I want to kind of play into that nature of him, being that. So I thought,
Yeah, no problems.
So, okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problems.
On the way to the horse, I walk up to Horace and I ask for one of his pamphlets.
All right.
Oh God. All right. Horace digs through his pockets. Yeah. Normally, I would ask for a small donation. However, we're friends. I'll give you the friend discount. Here you go, friend. Like, if you have any questions, please. I mean, it's going to be a long walk. You're facing me. I'm right here.
I say, I'm going to give you the best donation of all, and I give you a big, tender hug. And I whisper in your ear, "Robble, robble."
I will gladly accept that hug and return it tenfold.
All right.
I just want to know what item you took off of Shane's character sheet right now and put on yours, John. That's what I want to know.
I'm going to load it into the chat. You'll see.
My grandmama gave me that chain. All right. Yeah, so you guys head out. We're just going to assume it's the morning. You're heading out. Horse has no problem early on. The road turns into a footpath, which turns into like a game trail over the course of several hours. And you're steadily going upwards. Again, it's the spring. So things are starting to thaw. Things are starting to clear out. You're starting to see, flowers are starting to bloom. You're getting, the pine cones and pine needles are coming out. The air is just as fresh as you can imagine. We're talking the Swiss Alps, kind of a fresh air up here. And again, it very quickly turns into a wild sort of environment. It goes from being, hey, they've lumbered here, they've pulled rock to quarry from here, and then to just completely untouched. And you're on those game trails. Going is a little slow because it does get thick with the horse. At one point, you actually have to get down off the horse and lead it. Because it's just the foliage is just too thick. But you can see up ahead, there's some gorges, or not gorges, but there's some crags and some mountain peaks and stuff that you can see. So maybe things will clear out a bit up ahead. Now, is anyone here any kind of, or do you have any sort of wilderness skills? Are you a ranger, a druid? Do you have any sort of anything like that?
My people are very much one with the land around us, and like I said, butt up on the other side of this mountain also too. So very familiar with the territory.
Okay, excellent.
And I have the scouting skills, and I have a spyglass, so I can help point out stuff to anybody else.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So a couple things you did that you noticed right off. You're not seeing anything but game tracks up here. There's been no human foot traffic. Now that you've penetrated into into the wilderness. You're definitely in a wild place. There hasn't been anybody up here in quite a while. You're seeing plenty of evidence of game. You're seeing, scat and droppings from a variety of animals. You're seeing, things have dug into the ground or at the base of trees. You see the occasional track. But yeah, so, there hasn't been anybody else passing this way that you can make out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, really quickly. How far away? So you said because there was the avalanche, and then we're heading to Merv's. So are like those two relatively close to each other, or is it like Merv's really, another direction from the avalanche area?
Yeah, so sort of. I mean, the way that you're thinking, you've never actually seen the Eastern Pass, because there's basically 4 ways into where you're at, and he wants to clear out the Eastern Pass so that all the people in their trade caravans can get through and bring the supplies. So you want to go for Merv is this way, okay, and you guys actually end up getting to a spot where the game trail you're at branches off into 3 different directions, and you've got no human tracks, but you've got a ton of animal tracks going back and forth each way.
Okay.
Which trail seems to have the least amount of animal tracks on it? Is that something a normie like me could see, or would one of the professionals have to have a look?
Yeah, everybody can work together and look around and kind of get a good grip on what's happening. That one over there, that's the one. That doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of animals or wild animals headed that direction.
I mean, I would definitely recommend. Is that same trail easy for? I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. I'm just gonna say princesses right now for her horse for Jet.
It's Lady. Jet. I will continually correct you that it is Lady every single time you call me princess.
Lady.
It happens a lot. It's very
horse,
adorable.
I remember Jet.
Right.
the horse.
Lady Zara.
Lady Zara.
Thank you. I'm horrible with names. Even Torment would just be like, I'm terrible with names. But yeah, is that trail with less animal tracks on it easier for the horse?
Yeah, you're looking at it at this point where you had to get down and walk the horse. Things are starting to open up. You're getting less and less heavy forest, which is what you were having at the base of things, and now as you go up, you're starting to get more and more like craggy and rocky and more open space. So you could get there's certain spots that you can get back up on the horse, but then other ones that you'll have to lead the horse.
I mean, I'll certainly walk my horse when it needs to be Jet needs to be walked. I don't know that I'm actually convicted by like less animal traffic being a good thing, especially from a survivability standpoint. What does it seem like is it just a cross section of a whole lot of animal movement, or is there like a directional flow to any of this?
So
and also what kind of tracks? I'm sorry, what kind of tracks? Like bigger, smaller, kind of thing.
Sure. So you got your typical bird tracks and fox and coyote and that sort of thing. One of them, your head seems to be just overrun with sheep tracks. It seems to be, you're looking at the tracks. You're pretty sure that's going to be, some sort of doll or longhorn sheep going off that way. Another one has what looked to be, what do you call them? Like small bear tracks, but no bigger, but like a bear's tracks, but smaller.
Right. I mean, I think I'm more inclined to go sheep track route because that to me would suggest, hey, there's a food source that travels this way, and that makes it a survivable route for somebody who lives out in the wilderness.
I mean, I would agree too. I just find it weird that there's so many tracks. It's like I almost feel like it was either the avalanche or something else that caused like a massive amount of track. Because how many days would I be able to discern that they're old at least?
Within the last week. So So it's, with the sheep tracks, it looks like maybe they've been brought through here a couple different times. You know, like whoever has them has brought them through.
Domesticated.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to, bring on anybody's wrath.
Does anybody have any kind of skill that gives them like a perception skill?
There is no perception skill because it's all about ask things, though. I mean, ostensibly, if somebody knows why their character is astute, let's say somebody was a thief who was really good at observing things, right? They might then make a luck roll to see if they notice something, and they might negotiate with you based on that.
Cool. All right.
Just for example.
All right. Well, you guys are here at this little three-way, trying to choose what you're going to do. What's happening?
Lady Zara is advocating for going up the sheep track route.
All right.
I mean, and I'm inclined to agree, not for the food source, but because it's also well-traveled. So even if we're not going to steal sheep, we are confident that people who were confident in that route went through it.
All right. How about you, Robel?
Robel is looking around. Robel is looking at the bear tracks and trying to decide if they look like they are in pursuit of or kind of trailing behind the sheep tracks. Because if that's one source of food, that is, for one, other bigger creatures might find it a good source of food as well.
So curiously, the tracks that look like smaller bear tracks are definitely not in pursuit of the sheep. They are not going in the same direction. They're going in a different direction, which is, as you share that information around, very odd. That's something that does not fit in with the natural order of things. Food being scarce up in the mountains as it is, you would expect a bear literally to go loping after a bunch of sheep.
That's actually a great point. I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to, as Torment, tell Robel, that's actually a great point. And I look at the bear tracks again, or the pseudo bear tracks. What's the stride on them? Like, are they hurried or,
hard
calm?
to tell, because you're an assassin and not you're not a ranger. You're not a druid. Those are the kind of classes that could get down and tell you, do the Aragorn, sniff the air, and get down and put his head to the to the ground, sort of thing. But you can't tell if they're hurried. But there appear to only be a few of them. And what you can guess is that they are walking on all fours rather than walking, on 2 feet.
Well, I relay that
Claws, pads,
I relay that information to Lady Zara. I don't know if that's of interest, but we need to make sure that we're not going to run into this group either at some point. I don't know if you want one of your attendants to check it out.
No, I think we're probably fine. Robel, did you have anything to add?
I was going to try to infer to the party that maybe, while we know what we think is over there, maybe we should take a walk up over here and go see some bears.
One more thing, Robel, as we got kind of cut off there. As you're looking at those bear tracks, you're looking at the other tracks, you're kind of just looking around. When you take a deeper look into what's happening in this pass, up on some of the higher rocks, you do find another track, which leads you to a set of another tracks that you didn't see from down below on the. So, imagine you're. Let me just backtrack here. Imagine you're kind of going through a little dry riverbed, or you're on this game trail. And you've got your sheep tracks that are being driven down this riverbed. As you get up and look around, you notice a big barefoot print on the top of one of these rocks. It looks like that whatever was driving these sheep was actually walking on top of the rocks above. 4, 5, sometimes 6, 7 feet higher than the sheep. It was driving them, and whatever it was big, because there's a footprint that's probably, I don't know, 3 feet long. You can literally make it out too. It must have weighed a ton. You can literally make out the print of the big toe, the heel, the 4 smaller toes. It's this wide. It's a big footprint. And as you look, you're like, holy shit! And you start to look around a little bit. Sure enough, man. Hey, there's a partial over there. There's a partial over there. But again, you guys aren't rangers. You're not druids. You're not like a core wilderness class. Although Tony, Lady Zara.
Lady Zara.
Yeah, as you get roped into this and start looking around, you're like, oh yeah. You start seeing more of these tracks now that you know where they're at and what to look for.
Yeah.
So I drop down onto the ground where the print is, and I make kind of like a snow angel with my arms in the print, and I say, "It's definitely a big bear."
Yeah. So, Lady Zara, what you're being from the other side of the mountain, what you're thinking here is fissure giant. There's not very many of them around anymore. They're one of those older races that has kind of been on the decline for hundreds of years, but they do still exist way high up in the mountains. They're just big, mean, and driving a goat herd would fall into its wheelhouse.
Yeah, we avoid the fissure giants fairly consistently. Some people don't even think they exist anymore. So yeah, I'll relay that information to them. Remind me again, was Merv supposed to have reported in and has not?
No, he just he's up in his cabin. He's going to come down, in a month or so, and talk to the Lord. But the Lord needs him early. It's like, oh hey, we
that's
thought,
to make sure.
Yeah, our scouts went out and saw that the eastern pass had been blocked by an avalanche. Like,
I can't imagine, even though that Merv would have placed his cabin near the realm of a fissure giant. So, I think the bear, like if we want to explore the bear path, that's great. If we want to try to go talk to this fissure giant and see if they know anything, we can. But I mean, we're going to need to bring them some sort of offering, and I don't know that we have anything.
And besides, if things go south, we don't have the best terrain exactly either.
You got that big juicy horse.
Not Jet. Oh no, never.
I mean, he's nearly invisible, so I don't think he'll.
Jet's my backup character also too, so
Got a stat sheet for him and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would let that fly.
So, no, but yeah, I 100% think that as experienced as I've heard Merv is, there's no way that he would place himself near a fissure giant's area of influence. So yeah, I would say the bear path then potentially being the best one to go down.
Yeah, I'm agreed too.
All right.
Cool.
I want my distraction to continue, so let's avoid the giant. I think that seems smart.
And listen, when I say bear tracks, what I'm saying is when I said they were smaller, I don't mean to allude that it's a small bear. I mean that it's bear-like, but it's smaller than a bear would actually be.
A cub?
Okay.
Gotcha. I think the concept being not like a cub, but like something else entirely.
Yes. Okay. I'm glad we're all on the same page. All right. Yeah. So you hook off to the left and head up that way, away from the sheep, away from the fissure giant tracks. You spend the most of the rest of the next day, the most of the rest of the day. That's a mouthful. Headed up this little dry, game trail. And as you get higher and higher, the vegetation gets a little bit less and less. You find yourself picking over, like I said, these little craggy outcroppings, and finding the paths of mountain goats as you pick and go. One of the things that you do notice at the end, at the close of that first day, is you do notice a far, far away that you do see a trickle of smoke. So you know that you probably headed in the right direction.
Excellent.
Because nobody else lives up here but Merv that you know of. Lord Umbert said this was his land, and that he it was gifted to him for his services to the to the court. So you're betting that might be Merv.
Excellent.
So we only see the smoke right now, right?
It's a trickle, probably another half a day to a day away.
Okay, so I'll hold off from properly scouting. We should try to get as close as possible.
Awesome. As it draws later in the day, I guess we're probably going to need to make some sort of camp because you don't want to get caught out on the mountain overnight in the cold. So
yeah, and your horse is getting really thirsty.
Yeah.
So you need to find some sort of a spring or pool or standing water or something for your horse.
I will say I have. This is like a clue, I guess. Really good hearing. Is there any kind of like stream or anything nearby that I can catch hear up?
Yeah, so you guys stop for a minute. All right, everybody, let's try to find some water. Let's get our bearings.
Yeah,
let's take 10. Yeah, so like I said again, you've been traveling almost the entire day. Yeah, so Torment, you do find that there's a small trail that leads off the main path, and you follow it down. Maybe a minute's walk, and it does come. There is a mountain spring that's literally pouring out of the side of the mountain. Into a little trickle that's going down the backside away from where you guys are off.
I do want to approach the spring though. I do want to I'm already going over there. I tell everybody that I hear running water, and I'm gonna go check it out real quick. But I want to approach it stealthily, just to be sure that there's nothing really around that could be potentially.
You approach it stealthily. You do notice as you get closer that it looks like it's been purposely walled off with like rocks piled up, around the edges that that keep the water in. You got a little, like when you were a kid, do you ever go down to the creek and you'd take a bunch of the rocks and wall off an area of the creek?
How else would you catch the crawfish in the creek?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what someone has done here, but they've done a really, really good job of it. They've purposely walled off, this little spring, with just an assortment of rocks. It's almost like not even a single leaf mars the beauty of that little pool of water there. It's idyllic actually.
So I take a moment, to take in the scenery, but I snap out of it, and I just want to make sure, any tracks, any signs of life recent, that I could spot.
What was your level?
2 sneaky and 2 mystical.
All right. Yeah, so you're literally observing the scene, and then you approach a little bit closer, and in a high pitched voice, you hear a tittering voice cry out, "Oi! Don't you dare go dipping your filthy mitts in the spring." You look around. So you look around. You don't see anything.
Well, it'd be great if I could, see who's telling me to, stay off their property, so I can, be very proper about this.
The tiniest little rock goes bouncing off your I guess whatever kind of armor you're wearing, or shoulder, or whatever.
Leather with some tunic, like a tunic and some leather, but it's not really armored.
Yeah, and you hear, "Oi, leave me be, in this really high tittering voice.
Okay, so I will make a strategic retreat. I will be like, okay, I will head out, and I will make my way back straight to Lady Zara, who I imagine will be much more adept at talking to somebody. But I relate to everybody that I found a really nice spring that is quote unquote, the owner apparently is there right now, and he's not being very welcoming.
You never saw the owner. You just heard that.
Yeah, I never saw him. I only heard a squeaky voice.
Yeah. Yep, high pitched and tittering is the best way I can put it. You know, almost a bit of a laugh there. And again, guys, I'm terrible at voices, but I'm trying.
No,
I'm
You're
trying.
great. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Could you
No,
tell the
don't
direction?
I typed in our
about
team
it.
chat. Let's take bets on what type of accent that was supposed to be.
Call me the son of Colville.
So I want to ask Torment, could you tell the direction the voice was coming in, or did it sound like it was coming from all around you?
Well, I would imagine, Levi, that it was coming like because the spring would be here, so and I imagine there was some kind of like
That's a very great question. Thinking back on it, it sounded like it was coming from the water.
Oh, from the water. Okay, so I was
Now that you think back on it, you're like, because at the time you didn't pinpoint anything, but now that you're thinking back on it in his question, yeah, I think maybe it did come from the water.
Yeah, it caught me really off guard because at first I was like, I had no idea, but then it's like the water spoke to me.
So I have an idea. I have a large burlap sack because I'm a thief. I'm going to climb in the sack.
It's got a big dollar sign on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to climb in the sack and use the rope on my magic hat to make it look like it's tied off. I want you to put me over where you heard the voice, and then everyone hide. And whatever made the voice, when it comes out, it's go time. We figure it out.
All right. So
I tend to prefer the direct approach, but that's if you, Master Thief, think it is well within the purview, then I am happy to make this attempt.
I mean, I'm good whatever. I fit in the sack. Just saying.
So we execute plan sack, the sack plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's I will bring it as an offering. That's what I'm going to say, as an apology.
So you're carrying this sack with your compatriot in it, and it's got the rope tied around it, and you're just carrying it and saying, "Oh, here's an offering for you."
Right. I'm coming in saying I want to apologize for trespassing, and I am leaving. What would I call it? A very special gift. And I said it like right next to the very nice stone wall.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. John, you're just playing. I'm sorry. Robel, you're just playing dead.
I'm just standing there, just waiting. I got a dagger
You're in
ready
the sack,
to go.
right?
I'm in the sack. I
All
look like a giant potato sack. I'm just kind of trying not to wiggle, just waiting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you come back. You drop the sack down in front of the pool. You hear the voice again, but it sounds like it's laughing a little bit, like it's chuckling to itself. You lay it down. I'm sorry. Here's a gift for you, and you back away. And you're at the edge. I guess just at the edge of the clearing there, kind of peering through the trees, hiding.
Yeah, I kind of round out and meet up with Lady Zara and Fallen Oak, where they are, kind of like that. I just ran away because I was just acting really meekly.
Anybody else have levels in stealth?
Oh no.
No.
Just you, John, in the sack.
Not the most well thought plan, I could tell at this point.
All right. Yeah.
we're around the corner, but also Sir Darius's armor is clank, clank.
Yeah,
clank.
that's exactly. You get a horse. So everybody's kind of peering, through the branches and the trees, watching this sack in this pool, and it takes maybe 45 seconds to a minute after Torment has gone, has left, has retreated back into the forest, and there is a splash in the water. It's like a reverse. Remember the Predator when he jumps into the water, Yeah, but you can't actually see the Predator. You just see the splash. It's like a reverse of that, and it looks like something has pulled itself out of the water, but you don't see it. Now, Torment, you're closer, and you're looking closer. You can actually see wet footprints on the rock leading up to the sack there.
And so as I noticed that, I quickly just like, slap Fallen Oak's shoulder because I'm like, I guess I'm right next to him, and I'm like, look, it's invisible.
You can see he's very distracted. He's rolling, looks like tree sap in his fingers like this. He's, like I said, he's distracted himself from what's going. Oh, yes. And
And I'm just like, ladies, they're invisible.
Yeah. So you in Robel, you can hear someone walking up to the sack.
Okay. So when the sound gets within like striking distance, I have acrobatics, which says I can make an impressed feat of agility. So
Sure.
when I know that they get within like striking distance, I pop out of the sack. Surprise, mother French fry.
Okay, let's look at the logistics of this. I like your plan, but let's look at the logistics. You're lying on your side in a sack with a rope tied around it that you can control. I got that. You can't see your opponent or your foe or however you want to, the other person. And if you could, they're invisible. So take that into mind with what I'm about to say next. You hear a giggle, okay, and you begin to come loose, and everyone else sees the sack just burst into flames.
Oh yeah,
you hear a giggle, and you hear a giggle, and everyone else, you see the sack burst into flames.
Awesome. So the sack bursts into flames. I still jump out of the sack and I dive towards whatever I think I can hit.
Yeah. So you get out. You again no need to roll. You're able to get out. As you struggle through the flames, they don't burn you. They don't know that, and the rest of the party doesn't know that. But you get out, and you're like, what the hell, like you. the flames appear to be completely. In fact, as you move through them, you can literally tell, oh, this isn't fire.
So I still have eyebrows, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. You didn't take any damage. There's no smoke. There's no heat even. It just appeared, it panicked you for a minute because, oh, God, I'm going to be on fire. And everybody else is like, oh, a sack with our friend of it is just immediately caught on fire. But then, again, you heard the giggle and then the feet pad. You can hear the feet pad away. Now, do you have any sort of observation, or how did that work again, Tony?
There isn't it. He says, I'm looking here, I'm looking there. Okay. Here's what I'm trying to do.
Well, in that case, yeah, you see the wet feet pad back over to the pool, and you hear the splash.
So as I hear the feet running, I would like to take my dagger, flip it in reverse, and throw it to try to hit what I hear running with the butt side of it as to hit but not stab.
Sure.
All right, so what am I rolling for that?
D20 plus any bloodthirsty you have.
I don't have any bloodthirsty.
The D20.
All right, 15.
He's a very peaceful man.
15 or better, right?
Whatever. Levi may have a different number in mind. So.
Yeah, 15.
There you go.
I rolled a 17.
Yeah, so as the feet are padding and you hear the giggling, you do exactly that. You come up on one knee, you pull the dagger, you flip it around, throw it, and it does indeed hit something. You don't see what it hits, but I mean, just kind of hit something in midair, and you hear "ow," and there's a splash in the water.
All right, I'm gonna give chase.
All right, so he's the bag was on fire, then it wasn't. This guy, Robel jumped out. There was some laughter. He pulled a dagger out and threw it at something. There was a scream of pain. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm already making my way down because as soon as I saw the
just to keep order. Let me go ahead and start with Shane, and we'll go Shane, Javier, Tony, John.
Sounds good.
Okay. I see the bag that has my new friend Robbie in it on fire. I would probably start sprinting towards said fire to help get ready to help stop, drop, and roll.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh.
And Javier, Torment.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the order thing.
That's all right.
I mean, I was gonna run too, but then I catch sight that he threw the dagger and hit something, so I'm kind of like gonna go with him towards where the splash was instead.
Okay, so you're following up, and then Lady Zara and her retinue of servants.
I'm going to look. Is there like an overhang of snow? Like this is a spring. There's walls around it. It looks like it's been walled off. Is there like an overhang of snow higher up the mountain? Just like
Absolutely.
I would like to pick up a large rock and using statuesque, which is one of my Amazonian abilities. I would like to perform an impressive feat of strength and just hurl a not small boulder at the snowbank, causing it to try to cause it to cascade down on the area around us.
Like, you mean on the pool?
I want to cover the pool and the area around it with snow.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just roll.
Well, that it happens automatically. If you want me to make a luck roll to see how successful it is, like the hurling happens automatically because it's an ability. If you want me to do something to see how well the fallout works, I can do that.
No, not at all. Okay, yeah. So in rapid succession, here's what happens. Horace, you run up to put out those flames to help your friend. He pops out. You literally see the flames just flicker out. You're like, oh, that's not real. And then he, like I said, you see him throw the dagger. Torment, you roll up with Robel as he begins to head towards that the pool, and then Lady Zara from the back, like a boss, hurls this rock over everyone's head. The rock's probably the size of a pillow. It's like this giant rock that half of you would have trouble even picking up. She hurls it overhead like 20, 30 feet, and it makes contact with there's a where snow has built up in the boughs of some trees and on some rocks and whatnot. There's a small little bit of a landslide, but it's more of just some rocks falling down, and then it just dumps a bunch of snow right down on top of that pool. Everybody skids, right before they're covered up in snow, and you have this whole area is now just covered in snow and rock. It's quiet.
How ruined is the spring now?
It's covered. It's covered. Yeah, it's covered by because it wasn't that big to begin with. It was only we'll say 6 feet wide or whatever. But we just dumped 20 foot, not 20 foot, but 20 feet wide of snow down on top of it, and it was, like I said, was a little bit of rock as well. So you're probably looking at 3-4 feet of snow unevenly on top of that.
I'm just shocked, I kind of turn around and look at Lady, Zara. Just I can't find the words, I really can't.
Go on.
I don't know what you want me. I'm over here, yelling at Lady Zara, what do you want me to do now?
Is everyone okay? Did we catch the individual we were after? What happened?
I don't know.
We should ask Sackboy.
Yeah, I think Robel would have been more interested in the visible individual.
I'm just, all this stuff is happening. I was in pursuit, so.
Yeah, were you jumping in, John? Was Robel jumping in?
Yeah, I was not. Whatever was happening around me, I was not going to let up until I either caught what I was trying to catch or ended up under all this business.
So did you jump? Did you jump in the water as the avalanche is coming down?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I mean. I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, you said you were jumping in.
Yeah.
All right.
I was in hot pursuit.
Yeah, let me go over to Robel real quick. So as you're literally jumping into the pool as this snow is starting to dump down on top of you, it's cold and it's clear. So you jump in and you jump into the water. You're looking around, and the last thing you see before a ton of snow gets dumped on you is this. It's a face that looks young and old at the same time. It's wizened but silly, or capricious. Has a bit of an impish look to it. Not impish as in a devilish look, but more like more like a mischievous child.
Classic Benjamin Button face.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. Yeah.
and it's wearing just the ragged tatters of what look like very old clothes. It's got two small little curling horns on the top that kind of curl back. The last thing you see is his face, and it smiles at you and winks, and then boom, you have this whole snow just dumps on you. No damage or anything from the snow. No damage from the small rocks. I mean, like I said, you're in the water. You guys from the outside, you see as this thing's coming down, he jumps in, boom. You're like, holy shit, we killed Rebel. Oh no.
I mean, I break out of my stupor and I start yelling out for him.
Well, and then 20 seconds later, you see the head pop up, soaked to the bone, and covered in snow. But like from the shoulders up, you see Rebel looking around like,
Robble.
all right, what the hell?
How did you catch the Master Thief?
So I relate this to everyone what I saw, and I was like, I may have died for a second there, but this is what this dude looked like.
Okay, again in the high voice. Okay, fun's over, and you look up, off to the right, sitting on a little crag, with starting to stamp out his little pipe, bone dry as but not wet at all. Sitting up on a little crag, maybe 10-15 feet away. Okay, the fun's over. He says, "Why are you here? What's all this fuss about? I told you to go away, but you persisted. You got to be here for a reason. What is it? The sooner I answer your questions, the sooner I can get you out of here."
Oh,
what do we see?
We see the same.
Oh, you see the figure that
the
figure that I did point out to John. Sorry, and that does reach back and rub his head. So that was an actual hit, John.
We were simply looking for a place for my horse to drink and potentially to make camp for the night. We're headed up the mountain to see Master Merv. I don't know if you're familiar.
Hey, when
with
you say
him.
Master Merv,
Yes.
He laughs out loud, like cackles, like blah! He's literally rubbing tears in his eyes, and he's going, Master Merv. Okay.
I'm sorry. Is there something? Is there something funny?
He says there's something funny, and then literally off to your side, you hear, no, it's not that it's funny, and he's sitting right next to you, up on the horse's neck, patting the mane of the horse, and your horse seems very relaxed, very chill, and you guys are like, what? Where'd he go? And like he's just, he's a little guy too. He's like Dobby sized, like Dobby the house elf.
A strong house elf vibes here. Yeah.
Yeah. He's sitting there and he's patting. He says, "Of course, this wonderful creature can sup from my pool. If it wasn't buried." He says, "You humans, always so rash. You never take enough time to play games and have fun. But what's done is done."
I had a good amount of fun. Did you not have fun?
Well, Shane, you're the sorry, Horace, you're the cleric of the distraction. This is a wonderful distraction. You're seeing this as an incredible omen.
I will clap. I was like, please continue with these gestures, this magics that you have. I find it absolutely fascinating. Maybe later we can talk. I have some literature. I think you'd be really interested, especially with what you're doing here. We love it. I think you could be a very valued member of the church.
Raises an eyebrow and well, as I was saying, hops down, grabs the reins, and leads your horse over for a long drink from a little corner that is not covered up with snow. Then turns to you and says, "Well, so Merv, what is it that you'd like to know about Merv? His cabin is just up the path away."
We require Merv to return to the village. There's a passage that has been blocked, and we require his...
No. That's between you and him. I have nothing to do with with the fort or anything they're doing down there. I don't care for it at all. However, again, Master Merv, and he laughs again. He's not going to be very happy to see you. He's doing his own thing up there, but so just be careful how you approach him. I'll just leave it at that. He's an interesting fellow. You'll have a nice talk.
You're just going to leave that as a surprise for us, aren't you?
He just kind of grins. You tell Master Merv that Shug says hello. He says, feel free to fill your water skins, and you could even stay here for the night if you so care, if you care to. But be on your way in the morning.
Would you like me to clean your pool for you?
He raises an eyebrow. Like what? He raises an eyebrow. Like, what do you mean?
Instead of euphemism for something.
I'm gonna walk over and so it's dammed up, which makes me assume that there's a trickle of water on the other side, but the majority of
there
the
is
water...
now,
right,
because of the small avalanche, but
right. So I'm gonna look for the lodestone, a big stone towards the bottom. I don't know why I said lodestone. That's not the right thing. I'm gonna look for the keystone, like a big stone towards the bottom of the damned area, and I'm gonna put my shoulder into the top of where that's at, and then use my other statuesque charge for the day to pull that stone out and let the water and the snow and all the sluice drain out the bottom, and then stick the so that it cleans out, and then stick that stone back in to let it start filling back up.
Okay. Well, Shug takes a little bit of a puff on his little pipe, a little curious smell coming out of there, and he kind of just, all right, and as he tells you, feel free to rest here for the night, fill your water skins, and be on your way in the morning. He tells you, and you make sure to tell Merv that Shug says hello. He walks around a corner and does the dungeon master from the cartoon trick, and you don't see him anymore.
I want to ask one of Lady Zaro's attendants for some of the firewood so I can get it started.
Yeah, listen, it's no problem. You have no problems here tonight. You sleep. There's something special about this tiny little area that is inhabited by this little rock fairy, and it's cool. There's no problem. Like I said, you wake up. There's no attacks. You're not you don't feel in danger. Water skins are full of nice, clean, clear water. You get up in the morning and you're ready to go on your way.
Make sure that Robel doesn't get hypothermia over the course of the night.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to motion him over to the fire.
We all surround Robel and hold him close, letting our body heat warm him throughout the course of the evening.
Who was it that has plate mail? I can imagine that being a really funny thing.
Yeah, I feel so loved. I would never steal from any of you again.
I find that hard to believe, but
I can't wait to see your next update on your character sheet from
So next morning, you head out. Takes maybe another 3 hours, and you can smell the smell of wood smoke at this point. You know that you're getting very, very close. Probably just up past that ridge right there.
Oh, okay. I won't spyglass then.
I mean, you can pull the spyglass. Boom. Yeah, you see, and you're starting to see tracks. You're starting to see human tracks, normal sized human tracks.
I just want to let you know there's no need to announce me when we get there. It's really not important.
I wasn't going to anyway.
I just don't want anyone to feel any pressure to.
Oh, okay, good. Whew.
I mean, I'm trying to wean off the style I'm used to for the role playing. So I'm sorry if I
You're good.
No, dude,
Doing great, man.
It's fine. It's great. This is good stuff. Listen, just a sidebar. Anytime you get three or a group of people who don't play together very often, there's always growing pains.
Yeah, you got the play culture always has to evolve as you go.
It's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
And we're trying to condense things into a larger thing into a smaller time frame. So
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yeah. So
We're players, so we spent 45 minutes looking at tracks.
Looking at tracks, talking to a fairy, and it's all good.
It was like, yeah, I got cool stuff higher up the mountain. You weirdos, just go.
Again, what a thrilling adventure.
The distraction. See, I told you, it's working.
The tale of the
we caused
three-way
some,
split of the game trip.
We caused
all
some
good.
Environmental destruction, and
we put John in a bag.
John put himself in the bag.
I put myself in that bag.
Okay. We watched while John got in a bag. So.
Yeah, you listen. You guys end up barreling up over that hill, and you see, I mean, literally, what looks like an Appalachian Mountains cabin, just set up on the side of a hill next to some trees. It's exactly the when you're picturing in your head of what those old timey frontier cabins look like. Exactly what it is.
Call it the wild style kind of thing, right? Like
no, it's very I use this word again because I'm from hillbilly culture. I'm from Arkansas, so when I say hillbilly, it may mean different things than to the rest of the world. But it's very much hillbilly-ish, very much hick, redneck, sort of atmosphere there.
Like you can't quite tell if it's very well lived in, totally abandoned, or possibly a place where things have come to die.
Yes, very much so. And literally sitting out in front of the cabin, in front of a big I don't want to say bonfire, but a fire, is who you're assuming is Merv. It's a tall man with long gnarled limbs that are corded with muscle, like a big, he's not like a Schwarzenegger type, but a long and lean sort of Sam Elliott with like a jacked Sam Elliott. He's got a big bushy unkempt brown beard with little touches of gray on it. He's got a big old floppy straw hat, which kind of obscures his face a bit. He's got a simple, you can see a set of trousers and a wide belt that are hanging over a rock, and he's sitting in a tub. Like you can see his long knees are poking up out of the water, and his arms are hanging down off the side, and he's got a little bit of straw hanging out of his mouth there. Right next to him, you see what looks like a giant splitting maul, like something you would use to split wood. Looks like he's sitting in an old wash tub, and then sitting on top of that campfire, that small fire, there's like a mishmash collection of metal tubes and copper pots, sealed metal containers that are bubbling over. Immediately, any of you that have been on the wrong side of the law know that is a still.
Great.
Yeah, it's wet.
I mean, I think of it as the right side of the law, but whatever whatever works for you.
I mean, like I said, his trousers are hanging over a rock, and you got his wet beard is clinging to his face, and he's just looks like he's soaking in there.
I'm gonna hang back.
Oh.
I'm a little off put as well.
I'm gonna Homer Simpson into the tree line. Just
all right.
I turned around to talk to everybody and Tormented, you have disappeared. Would you like to accompany me?
Let's go see this.
But I remarked that I realized why Shug, right? Was his name?
Shug, yeah.
Shug. I think I know why he was laughing now.
So the moment, Lady Zara, that you start to speak to everybody else, you're over there in the tree line. You start to hear the baying of hounds, like the burp, 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 and then barreling out from underneath that cabin come, I don't know, well, we'll say 6 of these very curious looking hounds. They're not like great big, like muscular dogs that are going to come attack you. They're kind of silly looking, dopey looking hound dogs, really, but they're really big.
Bumpuses.
And as they lope towards you, that's you can see their paws. That's where that curious weird bear track was coming from. It's not a bear. It's this weird ass inbred dog.
There was another ability I thought about taking that I did not take for Amazon, and I wish I had now, but I did not.
Bird.
I am just going to like muster up my already like strong and like confident frame into like full princess mode.
All right.
And as they get close, I'm just gonna give them my most firm sit. Like, I'm not loud. I'm just insistent in the way that only a princess can be when talking to animals.
All right. So a couple things happen. So as soon as the dogs come off from underneath the porch and they're headed over towards you, but again, not in like an attack mode or anything, more of a dopey sort of kind of like what's this? You see Merv's head kind of pop up a little bit, and he looks over to the tree line, and a big kind of deal. You can see like his whole body heaves, and he just stands up in the tub. You get the full Monty.
It's a reverse shot from the camera, so we get the full implications while maintaining rating.
Sure. Yeah. The dogs come loping up, and you say sit. Now, just give me an opposed D20 roll modified by your. Actually, don't even bother roll the one. The dogs come rolling up on you, and you go sit, and they literally all sit.
So does Horace. Horace just sits in the snow. He's just like, okay.
I walk around and kind of look at all of them, and then I go, "Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?" And like I break out a ration, and I'm just like giving them all treats and stuff.
Yeah. So they don't seem to be, like I said, vicious or attacking or anything. They're sniffing all over everybody. They're sniffing at everybody's boots or at the horses, so on. Merv wrings out his beard, and he says, "All right, quit your damn gawking and state your business. Come on over here. Get out of the shadows."
I'll have you know I've never once gawked. What are these delightful creatures' names?
He goes, "Oh, that's Skeeter, Ian, Rocky, Jim, and Jeff."
Nothing I like better than asking a GM a name all of a sudden. That was excellent. Rolling out of 6 hound names all at once. Are you I'm guessing Master Merv?
Yeah, that's me, but let me get my trousers on.
Of course.
He goes over and he pulls on his trousers. I'm being in front of a lady and whatnot. He pulls on it again. I'm not the greatest at voices, so
this is great. You're doing perfect.
He pulls on his trousers and snatches up his hammer, puts it over one shoulder, and starts striding on over to you. Best we come closer so we ain't yelling over each other.
Of course. And we'll make our way up. We were asked to come from the Lord to bring you back down the mountain, or encourage you to return back down the mountain.
Oh hell, that ain't happening. Not in this lifetime.
Well, no. I guess the 40 families down there will just die. Then that's fine.
He's looking at you like, no, that's not what I meant. He says, I know what he wants. He wants that damn Eastern Pass cleared, but can't do it.
He is not the only one. I would love the Eastern Pass cleared also. Why can't you?
He says, this, I don't know if you know anything about me or why I'm the chief engineer, but me and this hammer, we got business to do, and if only one of us wants to do it, and he goes, "Shut up!" And he looks at the hammer and says, "Just shut your damn mouth." And you guys are like, "What?" He's talking to his hammer. Now, I put a photo in the chat earlier.
Yeah, I was just realizing which one was Merv. I was getting ready to pop it up. So this is a picture of Merv and the hammer.
I said, "Now, don't you go interrupting me. we got company now. That's not how we do things. He goes, no. I said no. Just shut up. He turns his attention back to y'all.
Yes, so your friend, the hammer, needs convincing?
He says, man, I said, look, we're a great team. We can clear that mountain pass in no time easy. But this stubborn old sumbitch won't swat a fly when he's cracked up. And as he says, when it's cracked up, you guys take a closer look at that hammer. You can see that now that he's a little bit closer, you can see that there are, I don't want to say minute, but smaller cracks in the hammer. Like the head of the hammer has taken some serious damage at some point. It's cracking up.
Oh, and will he get better? Is there something we can do?
You got to rub that damn old lizard oil on there. If you don't rub that oil on there, he just won't even budge. I'm lucky to get him up on my shoulder. Got to have that lizard oil.
Oh, just 1 second then. Does anyone have any lizard oil?
Sadly, no.
Would have been very convenient if one of us had written that down in our character sheet.
Listen, now, y'all city folk, you're not the kind of folk that's going to be walking around with a bunch of lizard squeezins on you. But
You'd
the
be
thing here's
surprised.
here's the thing is is crazy. He won't shut up. Shut up. He won't do anything unless I get him this lizard oil and I rub him down, and he just won't do anything without it. So I can't help you.
Where
Go ahead.
where can we get this oil, sir?
Well, we was getting it, down off yonder. He points that way, He says, but listen, those thunder lizards, they ain't nothing to be trifled with. I went down there not too long ago and tried to stake one out, but there's just too damn many of them. Besides, I got my still. Can't be leaving my still.
Do you think that the group of us would be able to take on one of these thunder lizards to provide you with?
Then you hear he turns as you're in mid sentence talking about going to get the oil. Turns to talk. What? Oh, well, hell, all right. And you hear a clear, not melodic by any chance, but a very clear and it's a clear male voice come from inside the hammer. And it's almost like you ever what's a good analogy? Remember Clash of the Titans?
Yeah.
When you remember that noise that came from the hammer?
Yes.
Yeah, or from the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it the helmet? One of those. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry, Javier, if you don't know. You might be too young to know that movie.
I know enough, I think.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like a tinny, like a voice inside of a tin can, almost kind of voice. Anyways, and it says the bee here are not to be trifled with, but I am so dry, I swear I will crack. They live on the next peak over in a crevice that Merv and I created, but we cannot help. I'm sure I will shatter if he doesn't properly oil me. Even so, the bee here do sleep during the day. So if you do decide to go, it's best to go in while they doze. Beware their lightning. Our marking stake is probably still there and may provide help against the lightning if it is grounded. And you can almost feel like the hammer winks at you and it says, best of luck to you.
Cool.
All right, I'm ready to go for some lizard oil.
Lizard oil.
Yeah, I don't think this should be much of a problem.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
I have the utmost faith in our ability to do this. Is there anything else you need us to do while we're on our way to get it?
Need? No, hell, I got all I need there. And he reaches down to the still and picks up this basically a smoking pot of whatever is in there. and pours it into like just a very crude cup and takes a hot drink out of it. He's that'll wake you up in the morning. No, I've got everything I need here. But I'll do you one better. You go on down to that fissure, and you grab some of that oil off them lizards. I'll clear that pass for you. I'll tell you this though, you find yourself a big old crack and you crawl on in there where the sun's high, because they come out at night. You don't want to have to deal with them sons of bitches at night. There's a big old purple gland that you can tug on underneath them to get one of them squeezins. Now you ain't got to kill it, but it sure is easier if you do. If you do decide to go and you get some of them squeezins for this whiny ass hammer of mine, you watch out for the lizard spit. When them lizards start spitting, it ain't no good. We was up there a while back. We staked in the ground, and that you can put that shock on it.
Perfectly clear. Can I get a hit of that?
He gives you kind of a side glance. Says, "You sure can," and passes it to you.
Yeah. I mean, I take a big old drink of this weird hillbilly moonshine.
It's wretched. It's hot. It's wretched. But man, it does pack a kick.
Like, I'm the kind of princess who drinks the blood from the skull of my enemies. This is fine.
Nope. There you go. Yeah, he's very impressed that
Probably less salty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very impressed you didn't have to take a knee. All right, who has mystical? All right, give me a. We'll just do an opposed roll because I'm not sure that you would have the. Are you anybody here a dwarf by chance?
I'm not.
Okay. What'd you get on your D20?
I have to roll the D20. Okay.
Yeah. Just an opposed roll. Sorry, on a D20.
So that would be my mystical level as well, right?
Yeah.
That's a 15 total.
Oh, one over what I got. So I'll give you a little bit of information about this hammer. You actually have heard of this hammer before. It's fairly infamous. Like it's a I wouldn't call it a legendary weapon, but it's pretty renowned. You know, this is the sort of thing that you know bards actually do sing about. It does find its way into the occasional eldritch tome or sorceress text.
Right. All right. And I will. Because you said it was an infamous hammer, right?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a couple facts about it. About the hammer. It's said to have been forged in the heart of a volcano more than 500 winters ago. The dwarven smith who crafted the weapon placed all of his skill and power into Krazen, and from those fires, the hammer awakened with an awareness and intelligence that's usually reserved only for living creatures.
Okay.
It is fond of dwarves. It's called the Mountain Splitter because it can literally crack a hole in the side of a hill or a mountain. That's what he's referring to by the fissures.
Excellent.
And as far as a weapon would go, this would be a maul, like a two-handed maul.
And
okay. And is there anything the hammer doesn't want me to know about it or something? Because
no, this is just when he says Krazen the Mountain Splitter, you get an actual look at the hammer. You're like, oh, that's the weapon that I heard about at a tavern 8 years ago,
or something like that. Yeah.
Or you read about it in some spell book that you picked up somewhere,
And it also loves to have lizard guts smeared all over.
Lizard squeezins. Yeah.
Lizard squeezins.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not sure if the hammer wants me to, sing its praises because it's honestly really good information. But I think I'll hold off and I'll just tell everybody, along our way over there, instead.
Sure.
How far away is the fissure?
From here, like 4 or 5 hour walk.
And it's like midday now?
No. It was like you left early in the morning, so it's like mid-morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm just thinking about when we arrive there.
Sure.
I mean, I think that we'd be getting around 3, so I don't think that's that bad to start a hunt.
It's true. No, I mean, Ladies are 100% down. We should go do this.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and listen, you know, it doesn't take, like I said, it takes just, like I said, 3, 4, 5 hours to get there.
Before we go, I'm going to ask for a roadie of that moonshine.
All right. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave one of my pamphlets under a rock, kind of near the still.
You
just
guys
like
all
looking
end
at
up
him.
with the red Solo cup on your way out, and he says, "You bring back the oil. We got us a deal."
Yeah, but we'll make our way there.
Okay.
Yeah. And along the way there, I want to relate to them, you know, what I know about the hammer.
What you heard about the hammer.
And that I didn't want to say anything because I felt like the hammer would blush at that point.
Yeah, and the hammer, also, you know, the hammer is very vain. It's a very vain hammer.
Yeah.
It's which is why it probably wants this exotic oil rubbed all over it. All right. It doesn't take long to get there at all. Merv gives you some really good directions. You end up basically just headed up to the next peak, and he tells you to look out. Says we did a lot of work up there, so you want to start looking for those big cracks and those giant fissures in the ground. So yeah.
They mentioned, so they kept on talking about this thing. As we approach, I just want to keep an eye out for whatever what sounded like a magical lightning rod stuck in the ground was.
All right. Yeah. So you start seeing the crevices and the fissures and whatnot, and you make your way there, and you can see literally where there's a giant crack in the ground, and then the crack goes kind of like underneath an overhang, and there's a cavern back there. So really, what you're looking around, you do see reptilian three-toed tracks. There are a lot of them, or what appear to be a lot of them. Some of them are very fresh, less than a day old. Looks like these creatures, whatever they have a large tail behind them that drags. It drags behind them. Other than that, you see some odd scorching on a few rocks, but aside from those things, you could drop down into the fissure, and the fissure goes into the side of the mountain. Where there's, like I said, there's a sort of a subterranean cavern back that way.
Now I know we're supposed to be looking for lizard squeezins, but I want to look for some lizard leavings.
All right,
catch my drift.
Doesn't take too long at all. You find a couple scales and lots of curious dung.
Do I notice that like they are like, say, conversing in a certain area to drop some heat and some sheets, or
No, not without having like a deep biologist knowledge of.
I'm just talking about like, are there a bunch of like piles over here, like versus like over there?
No, it just seems to be an area, like the area we're at now is like an area of converging traffic.
Okay.
But the tracks do lead back into that subterranean.
If Rebel needs to go to the restroom, they can go wherever. Like we can pause, we can stop. They don't have to go at the designated outhouse.
I mean, you don't know what they feel like. They might have a designated area of the yard where they go, or not go.
We are guests in their home.
We are guests in their house. We don't tell them how to make the mac and cheese.
So
we can suggest.
Are we doing the same general order as before? With Torment scouting ahead, 2 of us on/near the horse, and then the cleric, and then the two goons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. We still don't know where the rod was. The connection kind of cut out for a second.
No, you haven't seen any sort of rod yet.
Yeah.
So I will prioritize looking for the rod as I scout ahead, because that would be a really good, site.
Right. As you scout ahead, you start down. You drop down. Everybody drops down to the crevice.
Yeah.
Are you taking your horse into the crevice?
No, I'm gonna tie my horse up nearby.
You leaving one of your retainers back to watch it?
No, they come. Actually, given where we were going, I don't know that I would have brought Jet with us. So maybe he's just back at the cabin with the dogs.
That's fine. Yeah. Listen, Merv is more than happy to take a look at such a beautiful horse. Yep. So, yeah, you drop down into the crevice. Torment goes to scout ahead. The first thing you see is that the crevice goes down, and then as it kind of dips into that darker, shadier area, there's a sharp decline. Like there's it goes from being like this to like this. Okay. Not a drop off or a cliff by any means, but just a steeper descent. And that descent is riddled with loose scree. Does everybody know what scree is? It's like loose rocks, like gravel, like loose gravel. And it looks a little bit treacherous as you approach it. Torment. Yeah.
How far does it go down this decline?
Well, it just descends into darkness.
Oh, okay. So it just, but like how far? Forgive me. How far does it go before the darkness like hits?
Oh, probably a good 20 feet.
Okay.
Excellent.
That you can see. Yeah.
I take my long rope, and I give it to Helene the Tall on one end, and I send Sir Darius down with a torch.
Sending Sir Darius down with a torch, but Torment, you were up ahead first. So what do you do?
Well, I have a grappling hook, so I want to, it'd be like around 30 feet of rope. I think it sounds reasonable. So I want to hook it onto something and just kind of try to make my way down as close as possible to the darkness, and then I will cast my light my light vision, so I can try to see into the darkness, which is around 20 feet.
Okay, so I'll tell you that first. before Lady Zara was going, because he was up front.
Yep, absolutely.
Did anybody else want to do anything? Robble, Horace.
I'm gonna wait and see how it turns out, because I kind of want to see. For as a self-preservationalist, I want to see what happens when one of the ladies' entourage goes down there first.
All right.
I want to see how wet my pamphlet got in Robble's pocket yesterday, and if he needs another one, like now is probably a good time. Just be like, I know you kind of got wet, and these aren't really cheap, but if you need another one, I can give you another one here. Like while they're setting up to like excursion down, it's just like, by the way, I hate to be a bother.
No, fair enough. All right. So Torment, you're so you get down to the edge of that darkness. You're actually in it a little bit. You cast your spell, it goes off. So yeah, you can see a little bit down here. The first thing you see is there's a big old sleeping lizard down here. This thing's probably a good 15 to 20 feet long. It's curled up. It's green with a little bit of a sapphire blue sort of sparkle sheen to its scales. It has 6 legs and a very long tail. There's a picture of it in the chat from before. About 10 or 15 feet away from it, you see what looks like a stake sticking up out of the ground, maybe 4 or 5 feet long.
Okay. And quick question: how long would the spell last?
Oh, I don't know. For the duration of while you're, within reason, for the duration of while you're down here.
So yeah, the way we measure light ranges, it's per basically room. So as you move, it'll diminish. So if you're staying in this area, it'll stay lit for a long time.
Okay, cool. So I will make my way back up.
Hold on, that's what you see.
Okay, that's what I see.
You're taking it. Now, Lady Zara is Helene, was it?
Helene is holding the rope at the top. Helene the Tall is holding the rope. While Darius, the one in plate mail, is clanking down with the torch.
Okay, so as you're on your way back up, if you've ascertained the scene, you're on your way back. You're on your way back up. Here comes Darius in his loud ass plate mail, literally striking and lighting up a torch.
Well,
yeah. So,
can I say something to them real quick?
You sure can.
Thank you. I relate to them. hold on, there's a sleeping, thunder lizard. What's it called?
You hear movement. Something's uncoiling itself behind you.
I think I'm gonna get out of Dodge for a second there because
you guys just want to roll like a group initiative. I'm gonna give you
he says there's a lizard down here.
So all right, so you get the surprise round, or the round for everybody to do one thing, okay? And then you have we'll roll initiative. So we'll just go around. Shane, Horace, what do you want to do?
I'll break out the old mace and my holy symbol. Just
something going on down there. You're not sure what's happening, but sure. Torment. You hear you got the guy on plate mail in front of you, and then you light up a torch, and then you got something uncoiling and like a bizarre sort of like almost like you ever like when you're lighting your pilot light, you hear that that it's got a bit kind of sound that's a bit like that behind you. So what do you do?
I think I'm going to scurry up really fast.
Scurry up really fast. All right. And Lady Zara, what's the plate mail boy doing? He can't see anything, by the way.
That's fine. No, that's totally fine.
Other than Torment is like, there's a lizard, and he ran past him.
Right. I mean, once I hear them kind of yelling and skittering, I'm actually going to try to in a controlled way, holding onto the rope, start sliding down the rope.
Okay. And then Rubble.
So when this happens, once I hear the screaming and I see Lady Zara go down, so I have a feat which allows me to make an impressive feat of agility, auto success.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
So I am going to take a few steps back, and then I am going to slide down the gravel with a dagger on my hand, and when I get to the bottom, I'm going to hurl it at whatever creature I can see first.
What's your race?
I'm a human guy, just a little dude. Short.
Okay. So, all that happens. So you have Horace is preparing, but there's no light. So, he's, I'm assuming you're just going to the edge of the light. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get right down to the edge of the light. Stop immediately. Rubble.
Oh, so, you're not going down into the cavern. You're going to the edge of the light.
Down the decline to where the light ends, and I'm just gonna rubble.
Okay, good to know. So anybody sliding down has no problem. The scree is very loose, so you're able to slide down. Anybody climbing back out has a bit of a more difficult task ahead of them. Torment, go ahead and give me.
I am still using my grappling hook though. Like I just using that.
No, I hear you. I'll give you a +2 on your roll with that. Tell me what you get.
All right. So
you're gonna roll a d20, add sneaky, then get an additional +2.
Yes.
Oh crap!
Did you just roll a die on the floor?
Uh-oh.
No, it landed on the chair.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a 6 total. It wasn't that great.
Yeah, so you go to you're in a hurry. You're trying to move yourself back out, and your feet are literally slipping on that loose scree, and you're not able to get back out. So that's in this surprise round where this thing is waking up, going, "Whoa, there's people in my lair." Okay, so now we do initiative, which is I'm sorry, Robble, you got to the edge there. There's still no light because. You said he was coming down there and drawing a weapon, Tony. Or was
that was Robble. I've got my scepter out, but I'm not immediately attacking.
Oh, I mean your henchman. The
Oh no, he's just trying to light a torch. He's just lighting a torch at the bottom.
Yeah, so the torch blaze opens up, and you guys see in that flickering torchlight, you do see something very large, and the light is playing off the scales. It's shimmering off those scales. you see something moving around in the dark for sure, like very slowly, like uncoiling like a snake. You see something moving. John, now that you have light, did you want to add anything to your? Got your dagger out?
Well, yeah, I was sliding down. Once I got down there, I saw the light light up and rubble, and I just chuck it at the thing that seems to be uncurling.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll.
I died.
Oh no!
Only if Levi chooses to kill you.
What do you mean you died?
So there is the
rules
optional
in Down
rule that
We
if
Go.
a dice rolls off the table,
Oh,
the person dies a grisly death. You can decide. I typically on stream do not enforce that law.
no, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Hilarious though.
16.
Yeah, so you fling the dagger and it seems to drive home. Give me some damage.
Cool.
It's just one.
It's just going to be a hit. Yeah.
Just a,
It's
one.
just one. Yeah.
Holy crap.
I don't know if it was a magic dagger that it made it a 2. That's the only reason I was asking. All right. Yeah, so guys, so we'll just do a group initiative at D6. Tell me what you get.
I mean, I'll roll it if you guys want,
Sure. Hit
because
it.
it's for everybody.
Dude, buddy.
But
So awesome.
don't roll it off the table onto the floor. That would be bad.
That never happens.
Roll the 1.
Okay. So that means I go first.
Unless
Right.
somebody who has alertness wants to trigger it, because we're not going to do this a whole lot, because it's just
Yeah,
it
I'll pop my
lasts for
alertness.
combat.
Let's
Okay.
pop the alertness.
So who has the alertness?
Yo.
But it just lets us win initiative as a party.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, then go ahead and we'll
Let's
like I said,
pop
we'll start with. Let me set the scene again here. You've got Lady Zara and Horace at the top there at the edge of the light. They haven't gone in yet. As they're looking down, they can see a cavern opens way big. Just cavern opens up to a big spacious open cavern. There's a stake there about 15 feet away from this giant serpentine creature that is, I say giant, I said about 15 feet, that is unfurling in the darkness. You can see the torchlight from your Lady Zara's retainers playing off the scales on its side. And that leaves Robble and Torment down there with this creature, with Lady Zara's retainer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the order.
So we'll just, I've got it Shane, Javier, Tony, and John. So we'll start with
Shane,
Shane.
what do you want to do?
I am going to do my best to jump towards that magical item that we think is there. I'll head towards that.
Okay.
This, because whatever this lightning rod thing is will probably absorb.
So you're headed all the way down, and you're going to try to get to that lightning rod. Okay, cool. That would be Javier.
All right. So as Torment, I say just screw it, and so what I'm going to do is take out my short sword.
Okay.
And I have backstab and acrobatics. So since this thing is essentially waking up and it's
awake. It's awake now.
Oh, it's awake now, but it's still on all legs, right? So it's essentially it's back. It's towards me.
No, it's 6 legs. 6 legs.
Oh, it's 6 legs.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say that is I'm gonna fling off, from I'm gonna ride down the gravel and then just kind of launch myself downward for the backstab and using acrobatics.
Tony, and down we go. Does a backstab require surprise?
Oh, let me read the actual. Shane, I got your message. Go. The actual text of the game says what for backstab?
It says inflict level hits if attacked from behind.
Okay. Yeah, you're approaching it from the front, so you haven't made a maneuver to get behind it yet. You can work towards that if you want.
So if you want to use acrobatics to position behind it, you could do a backstab next turn.
Like you could flip, like you could jump and flip behind it and then stab it.
Yeah, because what I wanted to do was because if it's like this, and its legs are like that, then its back is right here. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing myself downward from the ledge, jumping straight down.
It's not straight down. It's like this.
Oh, it's okay. So where I was with
I remember
the gravel,
I said it. We went from here to like here.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought you meant that there was a deeper drop, and because that's why it was pitch
No.
black.
It's essentially like
Okay.
a lot of times in Down We Go, it's like, what's the narrative conceit of this ability? And it is that you are attacking this thing in a way that it is unaware of, is really
Right.
the intent behind that
So-
ability. And it's aware that we are here and where you
So
are.
instead, what I'll do is I'll acrobatics behind it, and I will cast invisibility on myself.
Yeah, as long as you can do two things, you're good to go.
They're both abilities. That sounds reasonable
Yep.
to me.
No problem. Yeah. You go sliding down towards you. You see like maybe it's getting ready to lunge towards you. Then you do like a backflip and you land behind it. Stop. Use your invisibility ability. Boom. You disappear. Nobody else can see you either. All right. That would lead to Lady Zara.
I'm running straight at this thing's mouth.
Okay. Like you want to jump into its.
Can I get
mean?
to its mouth? Can I get to its mouth this turn?
Oh, because you're up here.
Like, I mean,
didn't-
I had said I go all the way down. Like,
Oh,
I don't
then yes.
care where I was.
Then
But
yes,
yes.
you can get to it this round.
Cool.
You went down.
Yeah. So yeah, the torchlight pops up. I see it. I'm going to wrap my thing around this thing's giant maw and using an impressive feat of strength, hold its jaws shut.
What do you mean wrap your thing?
Wrap my arms around it. Like
Okay.
I'm going to like I'm trying to look at the art again because I was like, I don't remember exactly what this thing's maw looks like. I'm trying to keep this thing from opening its mouth.
It is a 15-foot long creature. It's got a pretty big head. It's a big boy, but I'll tell you what, if you can roll adjusted, for all your stuff, if you can roll 18 or better, then yeah.
Sure. What am I doing?
Just for reference, it's got kind of like a gecko head, so it's like the snout is very round, not
Mhm.
long.
Maybe I don't do that. I want to
Okay.
try. I do want to run up to it. I want to do something very similar, given the actual physical reality of the creature. I want to try to get my rope in its mouth like a bit instead.
Get your rope in its mouth like a what?
Like a bit. Like I want to.
Oh, okay.
I have a lasso, so I want to try to basically lasso it around its head and get my rope caught
Okay.
around the top part of its head.
Yeah, so that's a special maneuver with an item. So we'll just say it's normally 15. How about 16? With all your
It's a 17 plus 2, so that's
Boom.
going to be
Yeah.
19.
yeah, that happens. No damage, but you have you literally lasso the upper part of its head.
Cool.
All right, that would be Robble.
So what I would like to do is there's no shadows really here, right? Because the torch is kind of lit and everything up.
Well, yeah, you're okay. It's like having a torch, a single torch,
Right.
in a vast underground cavern. Okay.
All right. So
So
what I
There's
want to
lots of
do
shadows.
is something absolutely ridiculous. I want to. I mean, how far is it away from me?
You moved towards it last round, right?
Yep.
15 feet, 10
Okay.
feet, something like that.
I want to run and jump on its back using my hat with magic rope to essentially tie myself to it, so I can just stab.
Okay, so you're gonna you got acrobatics.
I do.
Okay, just make that acrobatics roll to land on its back.
Acrobatics is an ability, so it's just going to happen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's the same one
Yeah.
I used. Yeah.
Perfect. Then yeah, you run and jump and you get on the back, and then you use your
Magic hat with rope.
exactly, and it starts to coil around it to tie you to it.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm on it. That's what I'm doing.
All right. Okay. So just to get clear, we have torments behind it. Horus is at the pole. Zara is right next to it with a bit that's trying to lasso its mouth, and Robble is on top of it, tied to it.
Yep.
Okay, and then the two retainers, Tony.
Helene was holding the rope at the top, and I haven't told her to do anything else yet. So I'm assuming she is just standing there waiting to be told anything else to do.
Sure.
And then I think Sir Darius has drawn a sword and is loudly
One
like,
hand, sword in the other.
Yeah, like is loudly like, "Have at thee, beast! Stay away from Our Lady Fair!" Like going. It's very loud, and we're in an enclosed space, so it is echoing off the walls even more.
All right, and he's going to attack.
He's like right. He is more brandishing it, and making his way there. He has not actually attacked yet.
He's maintaining the light.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. Okay, so it's gonna. Yeah. So you got what we got here? We got. That's gonna be tough. Tough to hit Torment. What's your AC, Torment?
Well, I'm gonna be a D20 plus 2.
So it's it's
what's my
so
target?
we make defense rolls. You don't make attack rolls.
Yeah, we make that roll.
So you tell us you tell him what number he needs to beat.
I got you. So because he is invisible, so we're gonna lower it. So 13 or better to dodge. It's to try to hit you with a tail slap, but it doesn't. You're invisible. So actually, let's make it 11 or better.
All right, here we go.
It's a big creature trying to tail slap you, but add in
You're sneaky.
Your sneak.
So I got an 11. So
Okay.
So you'll dodge.
Barely.
Yeah. So yeah,
barely.
this thing it knows it's about you. It knows you're behind it. It doesn't know where. It can't see you. It just tries. It takes its tail and tries to just. It's just one of these behind it,
And I'm just like,
right.
Dear life.
This that's what it does to its tail. Then it breathes. Breathes on just trying to get in front of it, which would be the retainer with the torch and Lady Zara.
Cool.
So you feel the air, literally the smell of ozone. You get that like you're starting up the pilot light sound, and then a crackle of an electricity just launches out of this thing's mouth. A big pale blue white glow. And just arches to out in front of it to Lady Zara and the and homeboy there.
Well, he rolled an 8.
Okay.
Sir Darius gets +1, so that's a 9. I don't think that's gonna do too much. I rolled a 14 on the dice.
Okay. So so he catches the full brunt, and then you're gonna get half of it.
Okay.
How does that work in Down We Go?
So it depends on it's a little bit up to you, depending on how strong the creature is. You gotta read out some ranges. What if this was, how many dice worth of hit would this thing do typically if this was okay, so it's gonna do 4 damage.
So there's 4 to him, but then 2 to you.
Which means Sir Darius, we hear loudly talking, and all of a sudden we see the sizzle of electricity, and the room falls silent as a torch clanks to the ground.
All right.
Someone picked a bad day to wear a plate.
Yeah.
I look down at my chainmail and go,
But yeah, and then of course 2 to you.
Yep.
However, was your lasso magic?
It is like reinforced silk. So I don't know if this is fire or electricity.
Electricity.
So yeah, it's probably
roll.
fine, but
I was gonna say roll fairly high on the D20.
roll fairly high on a D20.
I'm pulling for you.
That's a 17.
Okay, yeah. So that survives. And then John, roll anything but a 1. Oh, you don't have it in its mouth. It's just around its body. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. That's what it does. So we just go back around and we just repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
Great. So yeah, we have next
I'm
round.
really sorry if you hear my dog in the background.
fine.
No, it's all right.
He's
we'll
really
just
far
assume
away.
it's the hounds back at Merv's cabin.
Yeah.
Echoing.
Falling to the ground is making things a bit precarious. Got a lot of flickering shadows in here. Could go out at any minute. What fun! All right. So beginning next round, we have Horace.
Horace is going to grab that lightning rod as quickly as possible and head towards this beast.
Okay, well, so just a little bit more description on the lightning rod. You pick it up Like you have it. Like as soon as you pick it up, you realize, oh, this is really light. Like it's like you picked up a rod made of tin. You know, it's not like it's made of metal. Okay. Has a blunted end on one end. Looks like maybe it was hammered in. But then you pick up the end of it. The end of it's really sharp. It almost looks like a javelin, like a javelin somebody would throw. But it's really, really light. But it is made of metal.
Okay.
So not exactly at all what you were expecting when you pulled it out of the ground.
You should hold on to that.
I'm gonna toss it into the ground in front of this thing.
Okay.
And hopes that that's what its design is meant for. So like where everyone's kind of fighting around it, I kind of want to like maybe next to where the torch is or where the body dropped or what's left of it, and just kind of lawn dart it in.
So you're tossing it like this and trying to okay. Yeah, roll a d20.
That's a 2.
Yeah, it just clangs on the ground. Clang, 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 clang. Kind of rolls off to the side. All right, Javier, Torment, you're behind it. You're invisible. You can make your backstab.
Okay, but I do. How far away am I from it?
Very close.
Very close. Okay, close enough that am I able to like run over to its underbelly side on the side, and that's where I want to do the backstab with my short sword.
Yeah, as it moves around, you can get that's fine.
Okay,
you're very dexterous. You're sliding around. That's cool.
I'm gonna go for it. And just as a side note, my invisibility ends after the retaliation of the Thunder Lizard. So I'm gonna take advantage right now of that backstab.
Thunder Lizard.
Lizard.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and roll. Oh, you don't roll. I roll.
No, he rolls.
No, it's automatic though. It's a backstab, right? So
okay.
Backstab just happens though because it's an ability. He's got basically abilities. We have certain limited number of automatic successes, and then after that, it's more fictional positioning. And
got it. What's the damage?
It's going to be 2 damage because it's level damage, I think.
No, it's level hits if attack from behind. So is that on top of because my short
what level do you have
1?
in sneaky?
What was that? I'm sorry.
What level do you have in sneaky?
2.
So it's going to be 2 damage.
Okay, 2 damage.
Do you have a magic sword?
No, it's just a regular short sword.
Okay.
I didn't get to douse it in poison either because I'm dumbass.
All right, yeah. You sink your blade deep into this thing's underside and it could just cut a huge gash into it. You guys hear this thing just scream in pain. Definite good hit.
Cool.
All right, that would be Lady Zara Bloodspiller and her magic lasso.
So I'm going to start backing up a little bit, not in a retreating standpoint, but in more of a like tactical fallback. I want to get near the torch, and more importantly, I want to get near the metal spike. If as I back up, is it nearby? Like when he threw it over near the torch, and the torch bearer was right behind me. Am I backing up to where it was?
Give me an opposed D20 roll.
That's an 18.
Yeah, it just so happens it's laying there right near your foot.
Cool. I want to use statuesque and do an impressive feat of strength to just drive this thing into the ground right in front of me.
You're gonna pick up the thing and drive it down. Okay, sure. Now you still have one hand on the. Okay, yeah.
That's what makes it especially impressive. Like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, like holding the rope, pulling it back, like yanking on this thing's head as I just pick it up and like slam this into the rock by my feet.
Yep. Nope. Totally. Absolutely.
So that's what I mean. If you'll let me tie it off this round, I'd love to tie it off. But other than that, that's my only other thing.
I think.
I figured that was a next round action, and so
maintaining your hold on this wild 15-foot beast and then driving it into the ground with one hand. That probably
it seemed like enough.
Robble.
I backstab.
Go for it.
4 points.
Ooh. Yeah, that was not a.
That's the thing about deep sneaky is like, there's the reason we don't add the +1 to the weapon or anything like that, because at higher levels it's just super lethal.
Yeah, so
I'm sure he's tossing me around like a bed you had to put a quarter into, and you're getting You're getting the
Oh.
massage.
No, for sure.
Just for reference, how was it that it was 4? Because it's level 3 sneaky, right?
He's level 4 sneaky.
No, you took a magic item.
Are you level 3? It's fine. His yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Totally.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Yeah, because I was
got
like,
you.
yeah, so it was 3. Yeah, 3 damage.
3 damage. Okay. Yeah, so it's very, very hurt. Like that like literally buckles it for a minute before it stands back up. Like that was a serious blow between the cut that Torment did and the backstab that you just did. Big damage this round. Not looking good at all for this guy. Okay, so it's gonna roll its body towards Torment. Sorry, it's disgorged its breath. It's taking serious damage from the side and the back, so it's going to roll its body, and just basically just attempt to crush you two. Yeah. So, gosh, how would we resolve that, Tony?
So I would have them each make a defense roll. I might argue that you give them advantage because this thing's head is also being held by another rope.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll do that. So roll it with advantage.
So D20 plus sneaky for is that gonna impact John also, who's roped
Yes.
down?
Well, yeah, because he's on its back.
Remember how I said my dice hate me?
All right.
I rolled double 5s, so that's a 7.
All right. Well, go ahead, John. What'd you get?
16.
All right. Unless you want to get crushed, I would say that you probably command the rope to let you go. Otherwise, this thing's going to roll over on top of you. But I'll give you that option if you want. You can stay on, or you can command it to let you go.
I'm a championship lizard rider. I ain't letting go.
Okay. All right. So, gosh, how do you do damage for a 2-ton creature?
It's probably gonna kill me. Like if anything, just to save my skin, I say I see it coming somehow, please, and I let go of my sword.
Do you have?
I'll still take damage.
Do you have armor?
I only have the helm, but
you could try to narratively be like, you don't make it out of the way quite in time, and it crushes the helm on your head. But other than that, I mean, that's an option.
I mean, I would definitely have to use the helm because this is like a big lizard.
I'm gonna say 3 damage because you got literally a 2-ton creature rolling over on top of the two of you. John, since you're deciding to stay on, by hook or you made your roll, so by hook or by crook you avoid most of the damage somehow. You're not even sure how that happened. So you end up taking 1. But
Pure
then you'll
skill.
take Javier. You'll take 3 if you have any
Okay,
armor.
but, I'll my ornate mask, which is my helm. I'll use it to ignore it, so it's destroyed.
Okay, cool. If that's how it works,
Yep.
good to go. All right.
It's broken now. We can see his face for the first time
if
ever.
anybody wants to take a look at my face right now, just let me know and I'll describe it.
It literally looks just like the mask that was on top.
It's
another
an
mask.
incredibly detailed drawing. No,
I should have thought of that.
I'm focused on the giant creature.
All right. So that was its action. We go back to Horace.
I guess I'm gonna run in and try and take a swing at this thing.
Go for it.
I have a mace. Well, that's awesome. Roll a 1.
Oh no!
Right. How do fumbles work in Down We Go?
It's bad.
Oh no!
Broken or dropped weapon. Mace bounces off and hits him in the face. I mean, whatever you want. You're GM. Go,
Right.
go nuts.
So here's how we're rolling. Shane, roll me a d6. A 6 is bad. A 1 is less bad.
I got a 4.
Okay. So you go to swing with this thing, and as this thing's rolling over, its tail comes up and knocks the mace kind of wildly out. It hits the side of the cavern and then comes and hits you in the face for a point of damage.
Nice.
Damn
I mean, it could have been a lot worse, honestly.
Yeah.
This thing could have rolled over on you, or
Yeah.
breathed lightning on you. One of the two.
All
Yeah.
right. Torment.
All right. So I did, narratively speaking, I did let go of my sword as well, so it's stuck inside of its body right now.
Okay.
Because I felt like that would be fair, to kind of like, I moved out of the way and like the tail lashed my face as it rolled over,
Sure.
and destroyed my mask. So I do still have a hidden dagger.
Okay.
How can I do this?
You can just try and stab it.
If I use my poison, it's in my bracer, so it comes out like Assassin's Creed style.
Okay.
If I use a poison vial to cover it in poison, like can I still move and attack, or is that too much already?
I mean,
I think that's too much.
Yeah, even from the system standpoint, like covering a dagger in poison is going to take you a turn. You could move while you're doing it. I mean, like that's a thing your character is built around, and so like you could get out of the way.
So I will. Right now, what position is the creature in?
It rolled over.
So it's belly up.
Or to the side, yeah.
To the side.
I mean, listen, it's rolling just to roll over on everybody. He's trying to crush you guys. It's not like it's going to stay with its legs up like a puppy. It's rolling over to get back on its 6 legs to attack. But
okay, I just wasn't sure if it had done that because it's so hurt. If it had managed that.
Sure, it's in bad shape.
I will circle around and use one of the poison vials on my hidden dagger. So I'm kind of like over here to the side. I'm not invisible anymore, sadly.
Sure. Okay. You're applying poison and you're moving out of the way. Got it. Yeah. Lady Zara.
So I want to like less. I want to use an ability that I have called Binding Games, just so that I tie a knot that only I can undo. Sure. What I actually want to do is I do want it to be a knot, like I want it to be stuck there, but I want it to be flexible. I want to be able to run and pull it closer also too. So I don't know what type of knot that is because I'm not an Amazonian princess who knows how to do this type of thing, but Zara knows exactly how to do this.
Okay.
And so I tie a princess knot around this thing, and then I'm going to run towards its tail.
Okay, so you're putting a knot around its head. So
it's already lassoed on its head. I've got the thing in the floor, right? It's one of those things like you watch a practice sailor do, where it looks like I just like twisted a rope around this thing really quick, and then I take off running towards the tail of this thing, which essentially also pulls its head closer to the spike while I run that way. It's probably a strength roll is what ends up happening to see how much it gets pulled. I can also let more length of rope out. I'm trying to make it to its tail end though.
Yeah, go for
it. Somebody said Princess Knot is best knot. Thank you, Gorgor Big. And so that's an 11. I guess +2 probably because.
So where I'm from in Arkansas, there's a very strange sport called steer wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm from Texas. We come from culturally similar places. That's a lot of what I'm channeling right now.
All right, yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got from it. So yeah,
I'm in the Texas of Canada, so.
All right, yeah. So yeah, you're getting it done. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't seem to be a problem. I mean, during its turn, it may try to, if it gets a turn, it may try to break that. But yeah, you're definitely going in that direction. You're trussing it up. All right, Robel Robble.
I pull out another knife and I go Robbo, and I do another backstab for 3,
and it's dead. With that, you sink it like you literally just sink it right into its back. It can't take any more. You drag that knife all the way down its back, and it slumps on the ground. Looks like maybe it tries to pull loose of the lasso a bit, but it can't muster it.
Awesome.
Yay! Let's squeeze this thing.
Yeah. Never thought I'd be saying that.
I still finished tying this thing off awkwardly.
Sure.
Because why not?
Sure.
We were supposed to get a purple gland, right?
There is and lo and behold, as this thing is still kind of on its side because you had it all trussed, it hadn't got to its feet yet. you do see this very strange looking purplish gland. I mean, it even looks wet, but on the underside, and
How I prefer my
yeah,
glands.
no, I don't mean it like that.
I didn't either until I said it.
Yeah, it's kind of like right where the
I apologize to everyone.
tail meets the last set of legs there.
Does anyone want to harvest this gland?
Well, I mean, I guess I could, since an assassin would know a certain level of anatomy.
You have no idea about how to do it, but you're pretty sure that if you, I don't know, you can find a workaround.
I could fillet it.
I'm the healer. Like, wouldn't I know how to even milk a snake for its venom, towards that kind of thing? Like, I would know how
we
to
can work together.
We put our heads together.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, you have after some embarrassing missteps, you do figure out exactly how to get the squeeze-ins out of this thing, and you can get maybe like a cup full, but more than enough to douse a hammer.
Okay, I was about to say
reuse that red Solo cup.
All right.
I mean, that was good sipping moonshine. I'm still nursing that thing.
Well, I mean, right after that, I definitely want to recover some equipment. My grappling hook's all the way at the top still, or at
Sure. What will you be doing with Sir Crispy?
Yeah.
Yeah. As we make our way back out of the hole, the camera pans back down and his helmet is hung. I mean, if anybody wants to plate mail, they're welcome to it. His helmet and his sword are hung on the spike, as an in memoriam for Sir Darius the Loud, who gave his life on this day to make sure that we had light. Let's get an F in the chat for Sir Darius, please. And so,
right.
But yeah, we leave a little memoriam to him in there.
Sure.
One of his last rites.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, if you want to eulogize, I'm 100% down with that.
It was quite a distraction.
Yes, he is distracted no longer.
All right. Yeah. So, do you guys do anything else after getting the lizard squeeze-ins? Anything else you want to explore? Do you want to get the hell out of here?
Yeah, I mean, from what I recall, there are numerous of these down here, and we should go.
That was the word, yeah. All right.
Are there any scales that were shed around the area?
Absolutely.
I definitely want to grab at least a sample.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
I'll leave a pamphlet under a rock.
All right. Okay, yeah, so you guys book it back out of there. You get back up to the top. Helene is like, "Hey, where's my friend?" Sir Crispy's down at the bottom.
He did what he does, Helene. He did what he does. It takes 3 or 4 hours to get back to Merv's, but you can make it back there right at dusk. You can get back get back there. Long story short, because I think we're about to lose John. It looks like he's about to pass out after a full day's worth of work. John has been such a champ.
Thanks for hanging in there, buddy. So you're able to you hand over the lizard oil. He's very delighted. The hammer is even more delighted. As soon as he rubs the whole thing down and whatnot, you see those cracks start to kind of mend themselves. And the next day he goes and he clears the pass. And watching him clear the pass, it's literally like he'll take the hammer and he'll bang it on the ground, and literally the snow will just part, like a invisible wave goes and just pushes the snow to the side. He does that a couple times, I don't know, a dozen times, and the whole pass is cleared, like the whole thing.
Clapping from the sidebar.
Yeah, unless you guys, he treats you to some more of that horrible stuff. You made a friend on the mountain here, and you make it back to Lord Umbert, who is delighted that you have, convinced Merv to clear the pass. You've saved the town from starvation, and
I don't go back. I bid y'all farewell. I'm not going back to
go
see.
back over the mountain.
I don't want to have to bump into Carl. I don't want that awkward moment. I was never coming back from this. I was making it through that pass.
Done. And those of you that were to be rewarded are done so. Those of you that were doing a service are freed from your service, and that is Merv the Mountaincracker. Which, by the way, amended because I left out some things on the way and some other small details that would have just.
You decided not to kill us all horribly in the underground. I get it.
Well, 1B here instead of what was really down there, but you got the point.
We get the flavor. Which is all we want here. Which is all we want here on Plus One EXP is to get the flavor. And speaking of the flavor, let's talk about what this delightful adventure tasted like. We should pivot away from this analogy as we do our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream within a live stream. It's our chance to talk about a game or an adventure that we just played, and talk to the creator about what our thoughts were today. We were playing Merv the Mountaincracker, which is in Phylactery 4 and the Phylactery Omnibus, which are live right now over on Kickstarter. You can go to ttrpg.link /P4KS in order to find out more about it. But Levi, tell us a little bit again about the Phylactery, what it is, and all the amazing things that they'll be able to find in there along with this adventure.
Like I was saying before, this adventure is only one of, there's 6 scenarios, wildly different scenarios from the first 4 issues. But then on top of that, there is another 4 hex crawls, and one of those hex crawls just on its own is like 16 pages long, like huge. And they're all the hex crawls are illustrated by my friend Carl Sternberg, Skull Fungus on all social media. He's fantastic cartographer and artist. If you've ever seen his work, it's just amazing. I've been very fortunate to work with him a bunch of times. But those hex crawls, they're really detailed, and there's just a lot of material there. And that really is what the Phylactery is all about. It's like, again, 250 plus pages of, and there's no space wasted. You've got adventures, you've got mini scenarios, you've got NPCs, magic items, relics and artifacts, secret organizations, and every issue of the Phylactery has 4 new monsters in it. So you're looking at 16 new monsters without the bonus material. Like, there's so much in here for your OSR or weird fantasy game. And this material, it's applicable to your DCC games. It's it's stuff that you can use in your OSC games or in your BX games. It's just, if you have a fantasy game, whether it's traditional fantasy or weird fantasy, there is something in here for you. Again, I cannot overstate how much stuff is in here. Like, there's no, as John and Shane have both backed Kickstarters in the past, they can tell you there is a lot of stuff in here. They're really, really packed full.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of the Phylactery, and I am a huge fan of encouraging people to go support the project. Especially, you can get the Phylactery for, you can also get the Omnibus. The Omnibus is going to have content in it that also wasn't in any of the previous editions, right?
Right.
So it's
over 50 pages. So it's like having a whole nother issue that's you can't find anywhere else, and you can only find it in the Omnibus. I'm
super excited, and then I can't wait till you've done 16 releases and we're going to get the omnibus at some point in time, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I love seeing these come out a couple times a year along with all the other projects that you do, but I had a blast playing it. Can't wait to hear from everybody else. Speaking of Shane, let's start there. Shane, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play through this adventure, or anything you love about the Phylactery. Just wax poetic about the work.
I've been a fan for a long time, and I discovered Levi through the Vintage RPG podcast, and hosted by somebody here. And it really was my first introduction to the OSR community. I was a very traditional, big company gamer for a very long time, and when I started really getting back into RPGs in the last couple of years, Levi stuff is here's some rock and roll for your D&D game, and I was like, this is what I want, is some rock and roll for my, Keep of the Borderlands. Like, Keep of the Borderlands is fine, but when you do it 15 times over the last 20 years,
preach.
You can only see that same cave so many times. So
the Borderland only keeps for so long, is what you're saying.
That's, and you know what? It's framed in my basement. I love Keep of the Borderlands, but where I am now, I definitely like that. Here's something that's a little bit more heavy metal, a little bit more rock and roll, something that's a little bit weirder. And I'm definitely for that now. I mean, there's nothing wrong with some traditional dungeon crawling stuff, but Levi stuff is so fun. It's fun, and there's so much homage to that old stuff, and there's just enough of a twist on it where you're like, oh, okay. So, and that's not just me being fanboy. That's
very kind of you to say, man. Thank you.
Shane, do you have any questions you want to ask Levi now that you have him at your command?
What's something that you skipped out or that you want to tell people about the scenario? Or do you want to keep it secret so that you have
I don't mind.
Go buy the ticket.
No, not at all. So the rod is a lightning rod, but it's actually a javelin of lightning. But as long as you're holding it, you're going to be immune to those electricity attacks. So when you threw it, I was like, oh no, he's about to get roasted. But I think Tony might have picked up on that, which is why he stuck it in the ground, hoping that if it had breathed again, it would have arced towards him and then gone into the javelin. So when you picked it up and then it breathed, it was able to get everybody. But had it breathed, you would have saw that arc would have gone over and gone to the. So it was just like a weird set of. It had like high damage, but there's all these little ways around it to avoid that damage. So I like that little element in that combat. So it's just not just straight combat. There's like an extra element added in there that makes it that just one more thing to navigate in the attack. I'm also a big fan of that. I use it a lot actually. The loose scree or the incline where it adds a bit of difficulty to the movement. In an encounter, you're not beefing up the monster. You're just adding in variance in the environment around the combat. So if you look at my modules, you'll see that stuff in there a lot. Like I have I like using the environment. I have this great trap in Glimmering Crypt of the Iron King. It's not even a trap. It's just a scenario where there's a carrion crawler like creature that's in a chimney. And if it grabs you and paralyzes you, it drags you up the chimney, and it's hard to get the person that's being eaten out of that chimney. It's just that added level of like, this is not good, That kind of defines the OSR. There's little things in there like that. And I say defines the OSR. I just mean like the lethality, the way it can be lethal sometimes.
Like I remember our first time ever playing together, we were doing magic and shit. It was for the ossuary of Yeth, but whatever creature we were fighting, like we were like beating the crap out of it, and it would just like disappear and then like reappear every couple of rounds. Because we were beating it really well, but like we're not killing it. And like you do such a good job of telegraphing essential information, but you never know the first time you play with somebody, like, are they just saying these things or do these things matter, right? As in OSR, you're always going to grab on those things either way and try to make them work. But like you had mentioned there being a bell in the ruins, and I was like, oh shit, we just got to go ring that bell, like until this thing dies, I bet. And whenever it hit it, you're like, it screams. And I was like, oh, awesome, great. But you did such a great job also telegraphing on this one, all the little different bit. Like, first of all, that we were going into a dangerous place, but also all the little bits and bobs that we could have played around with too.
I think they're. It's not that I'm not a fan of like a straightforward combat, but I like there to be little things. Again, that kind of telegraph maybe an alternate way for you to affect the outcome, or offer a way that. It's a lot like video games. Like, the coolest encounters in video games are never like where you just run up against somebody tough and have to kill them. It's like you have to figure out some little puzzle, or there's something about the room that you can use to your advantage. Like, you can stand in that one spot in Mario and and fireball that guy. But you have to know that that's the one spot that you can, or that there's a clue that you stand on the third flower or something, whatever. And I think that kind of stuff translates directly to tabletop role playing easily.
Awesome. And like Gorgor says in the chat, information, choices, consequences, right? Like,
oh, and by the way, Gorgar is like the greatest name ever, because that's like the greatest pinball machine ever. So whoever you are, Gorgar, you're awesome.
Gorgor is also one of the Guar monsters that they have kicking around, is the giant dinosaur.
Even better.
Javier, tell people who you are and tell us a little bit about what it was like to play this adventure and experience the phylactery for the first time.
Well, I kind of first want to open up with the fact that nobody asked what I really look like under the mask. So I'm kind of glad nobody asked. It wasn't
now I want to know. Like,
well, he's a dark elf.
All right.
Obsidian black skin, gray freckles kind of stuff. Red eyes, the red irises. And well, that actually kind of feeds into, in general, what this whole session was about. Because as I mentioned before, as a designer myself, as an aspiring designer, really honestly at this point, and hearing what Levi has said all about his experiences and how he's incorporating that into, his own designs, it's that, that amount of freedom to create that character. And, you guys read I imagine some part of the character stuff I wrote down, but it wasn't really like a whole lot. So what I really appreciate, about the OSR mentality and how it was implemented, for this adventure, is that it's like you can be as extensive as you want or as little as you want. You get to develop these character choices throughout, an adventure and all that kind of stuff. As he was saying, there's different ways, that the spear, the anti-lightning spear, or the spear could have been used, and the way he approached, the attacks of the creature and everything. It just gives us chances for more choices and for us to create, more character moments, like how can we think like this person? Because that's one of the things about OSR, that they said that it was player knowledge is fine in it usually, because you kind of are your character in that sense, like they are you. And it's less about the roles and more about, the rulings that the DM or the GM make, which Levi, handled it superbly, honestly. Because we all got to do some really crazy stuff, and that was a real fun part about it. That we could have explored certain things that we couldn't. That we're like, okay, we're really not going to face that giant, but we could have if we were dumb enough.
Well, there was a crossroads there. That was the choice. You took the clues that were provided to you. Do you go the giant, or do you investigate this unknown thing? Which ended up just being Merv's hounds. So.
Yeah, but see that's the great thing about it. I think that the adventure was fun enough. Obviously, we had to play in compressed time, and even in compressed time, we got to be ourselves for the most part, and that's the great part about it. I think because we don't get bogged down, in a bunch of minutiae. And if I had to ask anything, it's well, I mean, like I was saying that, you could see all those years of having DM'd, played RPGs and everything. It shows through, in the work, because even a lot of modern mentalities talk about that kind of stuff. What you were saying, applying it to 5e. I've DM'd for 5e before, and I'm part of that mentality of less roles. So I guess my question would be, what's next after this? Is there anything else you want to implement, with a lot, like what's your next priority?
You mean like within the context of this adventure, or
design in general?
As a publisher?
Well, that's what I meant with the next priority is like, is it for this adventure, or are you, looking next after that,
Oh no, this adventure is just one of it's really a mini scenario. It's something that you can do in a night with your friends. If you use the whole module, not the whole module, but if you use the whole scenario, it would probably take 4 hours, instead of just the 2.5, 3 that we spent on it. Yeah, so it's a night with your friends. It's one that you say you show up at the game. You're like, I had a really busy week at work, or my kids were sick or whatever. I didn't have time to come up with an adventure. Boom, you pull out an issue of the Phylactery. You go, hey, we're going to play Merv the Mountaincracker tonight, and that is an adventure that you can throw into any campaign. And with a little bit of just DM salt, you can raise or lower the deadliness of that adventure to make it fit 3rd level characters, or you can make it fit 7th level characters. There's all these little things that you can throw in, and there's a bit of guidelines for that at the end of the adventure that you can scale the adventure up and down with, which is good, I think, because that's essentially what the Phylactery is supposed to be. It's a toolkit. It's something that hey, like I said, I had a really, really busy week, but let me pull out Merv the Mountaincracker, or Corpse Garden of the Myconid King, or what is it? Slime Brood of the Space God, or whatever. There's all these different things that you can, these different adventures that you can pull out. It's again a toolkit. So.
I think Levi Drates is just so he has cool names to say about things. I think that's the real secret sauce. By the way, Gorgor, I am going to ask your question in just a second. If anybody else out there is watching and has a question, feel free, drop it in chat. Or if you're watching later, drop it in the comments. We'll get it over to Levi one way or the other. But with that said, John, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play through a couple pages of the Phylactery?
Well, I'm John Hambone McGuire. I'm the co-host and producer of the Vintage RPG podcast, and I'm also the co-creator and writer of 3-2-1 Action and all of our great adventures. So, I've been playing D&D for a long time, and I am like Shane in a lot of ways, where I was playing straight up like D&D, and the OSR, as it were, is something I really wasn't well versed with. Even though you're playing through it, you didn't really have a name for it. As I've been doing the show, I've been learning a lot about a lot of other systems over the last 5 years. I've been playing a lot of other systems over the last 5 years. The Phylactery for me was a real breath of fresh air, because it was so easy to pull out of my pocket, literally, because there's pocket size, an A5 zine, plug in any system that I'm playing, and I'm having fun, and my friends are having fun. And to me, that's the most important thing. The most important thing to me about a game is everyone having fun at the tables, everyone popping, everyone enjoying what they're playing. I've never been the type of dungeon master who's trying to create his own world or flesh out his own campaign. So for me, it's perfect, because I just have something at my hands to play. And with having lots of narrative threads that you can pull out of it, lots of NPCs, lots of items for people to quest for, you can make things up on the fly. And at the same time, it's also great for a DM who's maybe has a 12-year campaign, who's like, I need to pop something fresh in here, or I don't feel like preparing the next part yet, or they're not ready to get to the next part yet. Pull the Phylactery out of your pocket. I guarantee anyone who picks up any issue of the Phylactery will not walk away from that table less than feeling good about the game that they played that night. And zine culture being what it is now, we're all very involved in zine culture. I love that people put out products. I love even more that seasonally I get either a new issue of the Phylactery or I get a new Planet X game, because it keeps it fresh, and it keeps it fresh and keeps it accessible. So, if you can only afford to buy Phylactery issue number 4, buy it. You will not regret it. If you can kick up that pledge and get the whole omnibus, Christmas is going to come early, or whenever you're going to fulfill it. I don't know. Paper shortages. But it's honest to God, some of the best RPG work that I've ever seen, that I've ever enjoyed. And whether you're first time at it, or whether you you're grizzled like me, it's easy, man. You're gonna have fun with it, and it's fun to read. That's the one thing that a lot of people overlook, I think, in these books, is that it's fun to read. Reading it is actually fun and enjoyable. Also, shout out to Tony. This is the first time I've ever really played Down We Go, and I think the fact that we're playing a different system other than traditional Dungeons and Dragons with the Phylactery, and seeing how easy it was and seamless it was to integrate both, it really does speak volumes about both the system and the Phylactery. So what up, Tony? It's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that rules light aspect of Down We Go. It's Again, Tony, I wish there wasn't such a long time in between the chances we get to play.
I mean, I ask you to play at least once a month, something. I know, I'm just saying. I'm ready for the Planet X feature once a month here on Plus One EXP.
Kids, man, kids.
No, and every single time I hit you up, you're like family stuff. I'm like, no, 100%, like zero pressure from me, because I love that that's such a priority. And one day we'll all be together. Part of my favorite part of last year, even though I got COVID right afterwards, was getting to go to lunch with you, John, and Levi. It was such a blast at PAX, and so and I did not get COVID there. I got COVID afterwards, but it was still a blast. And yeah, Marcus did such a great job with the initial TWJ system, but the way we flexed it out, and right now going through the jam, like it's really cool because people are always like, "Am I doing this right?" And I'm like, the system is so well designed that you'd have to be trying to break things. And like I played it, I think this speaks to both what John was saying, both that as well as the flexibility of the way you write, because like the classes I picked up, D, who wrote them, it was their first time ever designing anything OSR, and they did this really beautiful Amazon princess combo. Though the Amazon has ability to like boost attacks, almost both of those classes have very few attacking abilities. They have like strength abilities or animal abilities or other things like that, or regal abilities. But it was really cool to be able to take those two things and come into a very dangerous situation and still feel very competent with some of the cool abilities they had created. And it's awesome to see a story gamer be able to create something like that in an OSR system, which is just a testament to how well I mean, I'm the developer, Marcus was the designer, but how well that whole process has gone with the entire team. But I think it also shows the flexibility of the phylactery as a true OSR artifact, because it's not like here's your CR level for this combat thing, and we've really planned out that you're going to fight this thing. Again, you do a great job of saying like, yeah, I can steer wrestle this thing to the lightning javelin that you gave us and tie it down, and we can squeeze it, or John can just kill it. Like, it's whatever. Either way is fine. And I think that's the tremendous thing about it. And this is like, I was telling somebody, like, Levi's run Down We Go without knowing the rules more than almost anybody else, and still doesn't manage to do a phenomenal job anytime. Like, I've run it a lot, Marcus has run it a lot, Levi has run it when we've been on stream every time, and still manages to do such a phenomenal job with it, because
I got to ask a lot of questions, but
it's fine. Like, but the thing is, it's so real. And then but the best thing is it really lets one of the things I love about your work shine through the most, which is like, you do such rich narrative stuff. Like I joked around about saying like, oh, like you just want to say cool names, but like it was one of my first questions I asked you that every time we played, and you were like, well, would you rather get like the the funeral shroud of like Navon, or a +1 like cloak of stealth, right? Like, I mean, like, who gives a shit about a +1 cloak? Like, it might be a cool item and your thief might love it, but even just picking what you call things and thinking through, these are hounds, but they've got this weird bear-like quality to it, and this very like hillbilly scene that could be happening right now in the mountains of Tennessee, or hundreds of years ago in a fantasy kingdom. Like, those are all very cool vibes that they come in, and you just created a really amazing space that I see almost no one else doing, especially people who frankly look like four of the people on this stream, just like white North American dudes, who but you bring a very unique voice into that space and handle things in just a tremendously rich capacity that I always love getting to dive into.
Man, thank you.
Yeah. Gorgo wants to know, does the omnibus have the individual covers contained within it?
Oh yeah. So not only does it have each individual cover, so it's like you'll open up, like the first 48 pages are literally just issue 1, and the second 48 are issue 2, going on and on and on. But then there's a whole cover gallery in the back, because we did alternate covers for every issue. There's been an alternate cover. There's been Grindhouse covers, and then issue 3, both John and Shane have their own covers, along with about a dozen other people. There was a thing on the Kickstarter to where you could get your picture into the cover. It's an homage to the cover of Uncanny X-Men 142, with the big poster behind it, and it's Wolverine and Kitty Pryde on the X-Men cover, but on ours it's a sorceress and a dwarf, and you've got all these faces behind. They're just friends of mine. So it was nice to be able to have Shane's picture there in one, John's in another, and then other folks who supported the Kickstarter at a certain level. And I wanted to make that particular one basically at cost. It was just what it cost to pay the artist, to do the alternate cover. So to answer the question in a very long roundabout way, yes, all the covers are there, but all the alternate covers are there as well.
Awesome. And you mentioned 50 new pages of content. Tell us the thing in those 50 pages that you're the most excited about.
That hex crawl from easily. Actually, there's two things. It's all pretty neat, but that hex crawl from Carl Sternberg that he and I worked on for several months. It's really detailed, and it's all interconnective. It's not like some hex crawls where, oh, you go to this hex, but it has nothing to do with the hex over here. No, it's all very interconnected. The limited playtest I was able to do with it, I mean, really, that aspect really shone through. Honestly, if we had just expanded a little bit, or maybe threw some extra art in there, it could have been a zine all on its own. Just that one hex crawl, because when I say 16 page, that's 16 pages of writing, not art. Which turns out to be, that's going to be 25 pages of one giant. So it's like you get a whole adventure, you get a whole module, that looks beautiful, has great art. And then the other part, there's an article that I wanted to write for a really long time, but I could never get it. I had the idea for it, but I could never get it to where I wanted to do it. So I passed it off to another writer named Ken Spencer. He's done a bunch of work for Necromancer Games, Frog Gun Games, a ton of publishers. He's great, and he was able to take my notes and turn in this project about bards, which is very different from most of the material that you'll see out there about bards. Bards are a big element in 4th and 5th edition of the game, but they're past kind of their origins in Dungeons and Dragons kind of gets glossed over. It has a very druidic origin to it, and back in the day, you'd have to be a fighter, then you'd have to be a thief, and then you'd have to go petition the Bardic College to become a first level bard. It was like a really high bar that you had to, that you had to kind of climb through to become a bard. But the article that he turned in was fantastic. It was like a nice collaboration of our efforts, and I can't say enough good things about Ken. So that, and then Ian McGarty, who wrote this adventure, Merv the Mountaincracker, that was just great. We had this idea together. We sat down and kind of formulated this idea. But then I said, hey man, you got some really great ideas for this. Why don't you write it out, and then we'll punch it up together. So it's like an 80-20, 80% Ian writing that, and then just 20% me kind of coming in and kind of, shoring up the areas that he wasn't so strong in, and he was shoring up all the areas that I wasn't so strong in. So it's a really good collaboration between he and I, and he's a great writer too.
Awesome. Well, I love it. I'm excited about it. I know a couple of people are. I know Gorgor said that we sold them also too, so that's at least one more backer. I want to encourage people to go to ttrpg.link /P4KS. Check out Phylactery 4. Like John said, if that's all you can get, that's great. But I'd really encourage you, look at the omnibus. Get caught up on it if you want to. Ton of great stuff. You'll get all that extra content. But also, I know that most of Levi's games can be found through Exalted Funeral also too. So if you want to go hop over there, you can check out past issues that are still in stock and see what else you can get while you are there. We always love working with Exalted Funeral whenever we can.
Yeah, they're great.
And so, yeah, please go support them if you want to grab past issues that way. But best way to get in right now is the Omnibus, 100%. With that said, we never have a good way to close out streams. So I do want to remind people we've got a bunch of really great stuff coming up over the next couple days. Tomorrow we're playing Deimos Academy with both John and my good friend Banana Chan is going to be on running that for a number of us. It's a high school reunion at a creepy supernatural boarding school that you all used to go to, and you've just come back, and your characters are played through with paper dolls. Just ramping up the creep factor. I'm very excited about the crew we've got playing that. On Thursday night, we are playing. On Friday night, we are playing Troika Crapland 2 with Bats from the Nerve store. I am very excited about it. We've got a great crew for that one as well. And then on Saturday, we are going to be playing the game I am most excited about coming out this year. Two of my top anticipated games for the year, Deimos, and then Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast by Possum Creek Games. Jay Dragon's going to come on and run 2 chapters of that for us. Sunday we have Just a Cars, and then Monday we've got our second episode of In Extremis Solar Side, and then I'm taking 2 weeks off. So just tons of stuff coming up the next couple of days. And so please, if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. Follow. If you want to subscribe too, that's great. That totally helps support everything we do. You should do that. I always forget to tell people that because it's a new thing. But hit follow just to get notified of when we go live, either here or over on Facebook for the back catalog for that. So many great games this week. Even some secrets we've got coming up in the second half of the month, because even though I'm taking it off, we've got a few games popping up during that time. John, did you want to say something? You did this, and so I didn't know if that was just a stretch or
no.
That's great.
I got a bad back.
That's fine, and we've been sitting
I got to
so
wiggle
long.
sometimes.
There we go. With that said, we are just gonna wave at the stream until I take us offline. Thanks everybody for coming and joining us. We'll talk to you.
Thank you, everyone.
Later.
Later.
Ooh, I gotta get the title slide pulled up.